Good morning, Blue Travelers! Have I redone all of my audio? And now I am incredibly unsure as to whether you can even hear me? No. Because I double checked and I triple checked. I checked once. I checked everything once. You know what? I have no regrets. Everything's gonna be fine today. I can feel it. Now, if you give me 1 hot second, or maybe 2 hot seconds, maybe 5 hot seconds, I can get my stream up in the background so I can start monitoring things. Good. Morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So, what is on the menu for today? Well, first of all, I need to acknowledge that I need to get way better at starting stream. I feel like I need a little bit of pizzazz to add on to things. I've got a couple of ideas I've been working on, and I just need to get off my ass and do them. Dude, I have so many ideas for so many things that I want to do, and I spend so much time thinking of, this is probably an ADHD brain thing. It's gotta be. It has to be. I spend so much time thinking about all the things that I want to do that I never have time to do those things because I'm too busy thinking about new things and upgrades to the things that I never even made in the first place. Anyway, what are we doing today? I have a little list. We're gonna check it twice. We're gonna find out who's been naughty and nice. The real dangers of ChatGPT. Yes, I found another video on ChatGPT. I am addicted to AI. I love AI. We're gonna talk a little bit about AI. I got a video on Edgar Wright and how to do visual comedy. This video is 8 years old, but I'm so excited to watch it. Edgar Wright, if you don't know, is the director of Shaun of the Dead, End of the World, Spaced. Can't think of another, but he's made a bunch. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I really hope I got that one right. Hey Lord, how's it going, dude? How are things? How are you? And thank you. I can do better, for sure. Baby Driver? Did he make Baby Driver? No, he didn't. Hold on a second. Baby Driver director. There's no. I really liked that movie, and I never bothered to find out who directed it. I just knew who was in it. Baby Driver. Was that really him? I honestly had no idea. What else has Edgar Wright made? I wonder if there's any here that I've seen and had no idea that he made them. Hot Fuzz, knew that. One of my favorite movies. Last Night in Soho? What is that? Last Night in Soho. It's got a 7. 76 on Rotten Tomatoes. What's it actually got from the audience on Rotten Tomatoes? I've never even heard of this. Oh, it's a 1960s film? Oh. I'm not a big fan of those. 90% from the audience? I'm gonna keep this up in the background. I'm gonna watch this tonight. Dude, my lady messaged me. Media Burn, thank you very much for 5 months of being a super. Do we have alerts for that yet? No! Will we have them anytime soon? No. Why? Because setting up alerts is so painful. And getting them right is so hard. So the best thing to do is not to do. Alerts are annoying. I agree. I would like a little pop-up, just something small, you know, maybe like 3 pixels long and it pops up. Caps, doesn't matter. See, with this, I've said this last time. This is my right, this is my left. Everything is inverted for you to make things make sense. You may not understand what I'm saying, but as soon as I write Blootrix across here, notice how it be, you know, it go this way, right? Because that's the right way for it to go. But if the camera was flipped the other way, then the text would look backwards. And is there going to be a Blootrix written across my chest one day? Maybe. And so we have to plan for this. Where was I going? The text box. I got it right. Caps don't matter. It's all in caps. What else he made? He made Ant-Man? No, he didn't. That was one of the worst Marvel movies I've seen. I had no... Baby Driver 2? Baby Driver 2? Baby Driver 2? Is this a real thing? I don't think this is real. I think someone's made that because they want it to be real. What else has he made? He's made... Ant-Man, yeah, no. Ant-Man was not a great movie. No. World's End was great. Shaun of the Dead, baby. Yep, Scott Pilgrim, one of the best movies ever made. My monitor just turned off. I've got an issue, right? I have my computer plugged into my TV because then I can sit on the sofa and play games on the TV as if I have a console, which is the best way to play games. Sofa gaming is better than desk gaming. You'll never convince me otherwise. So long as the wireless tech you've got can maintain the signal, otherwise it's a nightmare. Anyway, I have my computer, my gaming computer, plugged into my TV. And the problem with that is that it's an OLED. And OLEDs do this thing where they clean the screen, right? Now, I think that's what the issue is, because every time the TV cleans its screen, I think my monitor turns off. Is there a fix for this? No. Am I gonna have to deal with it for the rest of all time? Yes. Have I been in the middle of a game of Marauders, or not Hunt Channel Down recently, or Dark and Darker, and all of a sudden my monitor's turned off while I'm fighting someone? Yes. Did I scream at the top of my lungs? Yes. Did I laser down half of a planet in anger? Yes. However, playing on an OLED TV is really cool. I have heard of none of these. I didn't know Edgar Wright did Attack the Block. That's a 10 out of 10 movie. This movie, if you've never seen it, is like one of the first movies I ever saw with John Boyega. The dude who got done real dirty in the Star Wars series. Dude, he should have been the Jedi. That would have been so much cooler. Rey sucked. Rey was... We've talked about this. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. John Boyega should have been the Jedi. He was such a cool character, or at least one of the new Jedi. When he had the lightsaber in episode 7, it was so cool. Man, those new Star Wars movies really, how do I put it? The Star Wars movies, the 3 new ones, were good action movies, but they were terrible Star Wars movies. I think that's the best way you can put it. He made The Adventures of Tintin. I've been wanting to see that for... That came out 12 years ago? Yeah, it's 2023. I've been wanting to see that for 12 years. I didn't even know. I saw someone talking about this movie, Grindhouse, earlier today. What else? He has made so much stuff. I'm gonna have to work my way through. Is that no, I thought that was Nick Frost. Okay. But what are we doing today? Yeah, so we're gonna watch the Edgar Wright video on how to do visual comedy. Scott Pilgrim, Make Your Transitions Count. I love researching film stuff, like how to do transitions, camera angles. I love it all. Mostly, I love anything creative. And one of my favorite channels on YouTube, Nerdwriter1, made a video on how to make your transitions count based on Scott Pilgrim, based on Edgar Wright. I want to watch it, and I figured it'd be fun to watch together. And then this one is actually like kind of freaky. This video by Legal Eagle, it's made a video saying this Supreme Court case could destroy the internet, really. Now, I thought this was a bunch of clickbait until I heard Moist Critical talking about it, saying apparently, yeah, this is actually a serious thing. So we're gonna watch that today as well. I think it's probably only gonna affect America. It's not gonna affect the rest of the world. And if it's only America, I don't really need to worry, do I? There's a good breakdown about Baby Driver and how to put good music in movies. You know, I've not seen Baby Driver in so long. I might watch that over the weekend, and then maybe watch that video on Tuesday next week. Do you know the name of it? No, I can save it to watch later, because I would actually like to do that. Dude, I love watching video. Like, dude, this is what I was just watching. This shot framing, the ultimate guide, shot composition and cinematography. I love this stuff. It's so interesting to find out how people do what they do, you know? By the way, hold on a second. Wow, look at this. We've got a brand new one. Dude, I've been working, not like super hard on it. I've been like working on and doing some more. How many have I done? I can't remember. I think I showed off, hold on 1 second. I think I showed off this one last stream, and now that's my wallpaper anyway, so you can see that, right? But I also made, I think that one's new. I'm not the biggest fan of this one, but that little spark of electricity coming off looks real cool. And then I've been working on my ability to further refine and upgrade the quality of things when I have the finalized image. And then I got this one. This one I really, really like, because I love the detail in like the armor. How cool is that, huh? Huh? The light bouncing off the hair and the beard, the lightning! Oh, I love it so much, dude. I'm so tempted to do an entire stream where I just stand here making art for the whole stream. I love doing it so much. It's so much fun. Do we make one? Can we make one? I think we can. Hey Liquid, how's it going, dude? How are things? How are you? How's life? Oh, thank you very much, Lord, for the link. Where'd it go? Grab that. Bang, bang, and bang. Thank you. Who's this by? Cinema Wins is a great channel. How do I save that to Tingy? Save to watch later. Boom ting. Done. Cool. I'm gonna give that a watch on Tuesday. Right. What was I gonna do? Should we make one art? I do remember you. Of course I do. I've got an impeccable memory. I'm gonna make, listen, it's so much, I really need to stop doing this on stream, or if I'm gonna do it, what, do we, can we commit to making AI art just for like 20 minutes? For like 20 minutes? Just 20 minutes, that's it. Just 20 minutes. That's it, okay? Just 20 minutes. That's it. We're gonna make some really cool AI art. That's just 20 minutes. I'm addicted to this. I can't explain why. I can't explain when I can't explain why. It's so much fun being able to take an image from your brain to paper in less than 10 seconds. What game did we first talk on? Now that I don't remember. I've played so many games while streaming, there's absolutely no way I can guess that. The only thing I could say is maybe Fallout, maybe Death Stranding. Subnautica. I played Subnautica on stream? I played Subnautica on stream. I played the new Subnautica on stream as well. I never completed that one because it was boring. But I can't remember why it was boring. I just remember that it was boring. Okay. We're gonna do just a little touch, just a little bit of AI art, okay? Just a touch, just a smidge, because I love it. Some of the images I've been working on recently, I think I showed these off last stream, right? So you can see some of them, a lot of them turn out terrible like this. There's two of me, there's no face, the face is messed up, etc. What I wanna do is we're gonna make 10 images based off a prompt. And then we'll pick one and then we'll work on it. So if you've never seen someone make AI art before, let me explain what we're doing. And then after that, we're gonna watch some videos. And after that, I'm so tempted to jump in just for one run of Marauders. I'm really tempted. I've not played in a little while and I've been thinking about it and thinking about it. And I'm so tempted. But here's how you do AI art. This is a program called Invoke AI. It's free. You can go get it yourself right now. It's great. I have a model trained on my face. Let me load up my model. And then you can see, if I click up here, if it will just load the model, it should be loading faster than this. You can see like what my steps were and how I made it. So it was 60 images based on person, num class 50, 2000 steps at 1 AE or 1 E. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know what I'm talking about. There's no point explaining it. If you're not going to train a model on your face, you don't need to know. So this is the prompt that I've been using, but I kind of want to expand on it a little bit. So if you have any ideas, let me know. Doing solos? Yeah, I'll be playing solo because I only want to jump in for 1 or 2. And if I jump in with someone else, I'm going to play for hours and I don't want to. I refuse. With that mouse. So I've got Blootrix, then I've got a blue and gold theme. We'll put electricity powers in there and thunderstorm in background because thunderstorm is cool. We want a full body shot in a movie poster type scenario. I do have stunning comic book art because if you don't put comic book art, it tries to do realistic images. And the problem with that is that my model is terrible at realistic images, but amazing at stylized artwork, right? Then I've just got ArtStation, detailed, intricate, 8K. I'm gonna remove intricate. I'm gonna put, what's another word for lighting? I'm trying to what is it? There's, backlit. Let's see what happens if I do that. Let's see, electricity powers, full body shot, movie poster, backlight. Let's just put backlight. Let's make 10 of them. We'll use DPM PP2. Let's put the image to image down for 1. I'm gonna do 35 steps because I'm kind of happy in that area. And then we'll also change the size of it to, let's see, 896 by 512, which is a good size to work with. Well, actually, really what I should do is do 768 by 512. I'll do 768, the results are always a lot more consistent, although it means that some of this is gonna get cut off when I make a 16 by, or when I make it 16 by 9, but that's fine. Let's generate the art, we've done the boring bit, now it's the exciting bit. Man. I love this. It's really fast as well. Like, that's one image done already. It takes like, what is this? 5, 6, 7 seconds to make a full image. Now, a lot of the images that it generates are useless. And you'll see that. As like Stable Diffusion evolves, I'm still using, my model's still a 1.5 model rather than a 2.0 or 2.1. Not that I think that really increases its ability to do things, but I'm looking forward to Stable Diffusion like a year from now to see how much better it gets, because we've made the big leaps in AI art already, right? The big leaps have happened already. We've went from pencil drawing of cat to you can do a real cat. Now it's about refining it, and that's when it gets difficult. Okay, let's see what we got. That's okay. I've got 100 like this. That's not, I mean, that is a kind of cool one. Do I save this one? I'm gonna save that, that's kind of cool. I'm gonna save this one, that's kind of cool. Don't worry about the face or the quality, because this we can improve in seconds, literal seconds. I'm pretty sure I've got one that's like 90% like this, but I'm gonna save it. This one, totally useless. I have so many like this. I think the issue that I'm having with generating the same thing again and again is that the model that I trained on my face didn't have very many expressions in it, right? Which means that we're kind of always gonna get the same look all the time. There were a couple of smiles in there. I wonder if we try putting dynamic expression, and then it might try, and then we'll put a couple of brackets on there to make that specific expression there more important. And then we'll see what that does. Hey Pursue, how's it going, dude? It's very cool. Thank you very much. I'm glad you're liking this. I never really want to do AI art on stream because I feel like so many people are just sitting there going, oh. And this is honestly one of the last times I'm gonna do it. I'm so impressed by it. I'm so blown away that I just want to show off what you can do and then kind of show my process as well. Holding a gun there for some reason. Some of these are, start to look real cool, and then it just cuts off the head. You can rescue that for sure though. I have no idea what's happening here. I'm in a suit, clicking my fingers, lightning's coming off it. It's actually kind of cool. I wouldn't use it, but it's kind of cool. This is a hyper realistic one and it looks quite good. I'll save that too. You transitioned, congratulations. That's, I never said congratulations to anyone that's transitioned before, so I don't know what the proper congratulations are, but congratulations, that's great to hear. I don't even know what the questions are that you can ask surrounding that. I was just gonna be like, how are you finding life now? Being the real you. How does it feel? I can only imagine it feels amazing. Mass Effect vibes. On this one, yeah, for sure. Did I save this one? I'm gonna save this one. Right, I wanna show you. Did I save it? I don't see it. Oh yeah, there it is. Right, I wanna show you, because I find this so much more interesting, how you can save an image. So as you can see, I've got no head in this one, right? So what we're gonna do is, we've still got my model. We're gonna put an image to image strength of 1, just to, ooh. Let's put it to 0.9. Then we're gonna make 3. This has the potential to go terribly. But let's see what happens. We're gonna try and expand into these boxes here to generate the rest of the image. As you're about to see, it could go real bad. Being myself is bliss. I'm glad to hear that. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, Pursue, I'm gonna just say this now to get ahead of it, because I know I'm gonna go do it. I call everyone man and dude. I call my lady man and dude. So if I say that to you, please don't take it the wrong way. That's just how I talk to people. Everybody, just letting you know. Oh my God, I actually saved it. Okay, so this is kind of what can happen, but this one is saved. Okay, we're gonna accept this, and then we're gonna generate this little part here, and then we're gonna expand to the right over here. We've got to put this to 0.1 though, I think. Very good. We're generating the top right corner. Very good, okay. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. The more you generate, the slower it is. Now, even though this is just a tiny square, it seems to be struggling. That one's the most consistent. Let's stick with that. And then we're going to drag this over to here. Drag it down. We're going to give it this information on what colors to use. We're going to remove everything about me. And then we're going to generate 3 versions that extends. Oh, actually, cancel this. Because I'm not in this, we can switch the model to an in-painting model, which also seems to be better at out-painting as well, which is great. I got that, no worries. I'm glad. Happy Friday. Oh, happy Friday, Pursue. Ryan Luther, welcome, welcome. How's it going? How are things? Don't have to talk if you don't want to. I always forget. See, when someone follows and becomes a citizen of the great city of Blootropolis, I always go, how's it going? And in my brain, I'm going, dude, when I follow someone else, I'm sitting there going, if you try and get me to talk, I'm out of here. I'm on another planet. I'm not a talky person. I'll watch, well, when I'm watching streams, I'll watch other people's streams. I won't say a goddamn word. Maybe a word. I forgot. That's kind of cool, but it doesn't make too much sense. This one is very cool. We like it. Right. So now we've got the full image that we want, right? So we're gonna set, this is my process to get a higher quality end result. We're gonna save the whole image, go back to text to image, and here we've got it. Now, we're gonna upscale the image and double its size with a strength of 0.75. So we've went, what did I just do? Oh, what have I done? Okay, so now we've taken it from that size to that size. And to see the difference, oh, it won't let me zoom in on the face, that's fine. But you can kind of see this is a much bigger image. I'm gonna go back to the unified canvas, send it back here. So now this is way higher quality. And then we're gonna reload my model, and we're going to grab the masking tool, increase the brush size, and we're gonna paint out my whole head because this head is terrible. And then what we might do as well, to get it to blend with the rest of the body better, we'll kind of mask out a bit of a neck as well. And then we're gonna add back in my prompt. Now what I could do, so this is how this works, let me explain. The smaller this box is, the higher detail the masked object inside is going to be, but the less understanding the program's gonna have of what colors are around. What do I mean? If I make this box this size, right? Let me turn off snap to grid. If I make this box this size, for example, we're gonna get a super high quality image, but it's gonna have no idea that we've got red, like a really intense red down here that might be shining light on this side of the face. It's gonna have no idea we've got really intense oranges and reds on this side over here that are shining light on this side. So what we wanna do is kind of find the happy place between a small box that allows the in-painted image to be as high quality as possible, while also capturing as much of the information around to let it know how to light the scene. So for this one, I'm probably gonna go quite big on it, and then we'll maybe refine it when it's smaller. And then we're gonna go for an in-painting strength of 0.8. What that means is, I'm telling it, 80% of the content in here, of the colors in there, keep them. Essentially what I'm doing. I generate 3 images based on that. We'll see what happens. I've been around for a while. Last time I remember you were going through Fallout 4. Good to see you streaming again. Well, thank you very much, Ryan. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I've not played, oh, dude. I thought about, streaming Fallout 4 VR because I've got the whole setup for it, but I feel like it'd be really boring to watch, and I could only do sort of 2-hour segments at a time before my Quest died. I feel like that'd be really fun. I might do that like far off in the future. It could be fun. The microphone in the Quest, oh no, I've got a Quest 1. The microphone in the Quest 1 sucks though. That's the only problem. Following this so far, keep going. Will do. Well, let's see what we got. We went from this, well, we can zoom in a little bit. Went from this to this. It's pretty good. Option 2 and option 3, and as you can see, it's changing everything here. It's changing, like, it's giving me like a bit of a hood there. This one, it's kept the collar, but we've got some issue with, fringing there. It doesn't make too much sense. The face on this one doesn't look great, but it is fitting quite well. I think that one's the best one. Let's go for this one. And then what we'll do is, because it wants a little bit more space here for the hair, we'll give it a little bit more space around the top. Then we're going to erase this bit down here. Actually, do we want to erase this bit? We'll keep the shadow in there. And then we'll erase up here Very good. And then we'll do the same along here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say keep 50% of the image. And we're going to grab the bounding box and make that a hell of a lot smaller. So it doesn't need as much information surrounding it now, because I'm telling it not to change that much about it. Enough that we'll get some variation, but we'll see. Dude, I really like how I've got the crease up here and I'm kind of angry. I hope it fixes these eyes because they are not looking great. Much better, came out cool. Yeah, well that's dude, to fit, the part that I really enjoy is going over the whole suit, because that's the part that I wasn't doing before. So let's see, we went from that to that. You can see it's changed the lighting quite a bit along the cheeks and the front of the face, because it doesn't have as much contextual information on what kind of lighting's around it. So it might be adding more light to the face here, because this light here, and it thinks it's in front, because there's no depth map. There's no ability for it to tell depth, as far as I'm aware, on 1.5. Yeah, I kind of like the one that I had. I'm gonna stick with this. This one's the best one so far. Sometimes you can quite literally spend an hour, you know, trying to redo a face again and again and again. The only part of this I really don't like is just the eyes. The eyes just don't, I mean, the colors look slightly different, and I don't really like the look in the same place. I'm gonna try this, just that, and then we'll see what it can do. We'll put it up to 0.6, invoke. Let's see what it does. Oh God, I love this so much. It's so much fun. Okay, what have we got? So we went from this to that. I mean, that's a little bit better. It's kind of kept that light in. That one does look far better than what I had though. Let's keep that one. Put the strength up to 0.75. Give me another 3. I don't think I'm going to go with anything new, but we'll have a look. Eyelids are puffier than IRL. Yeah, for sure. I need to make a new model based on me, because it does really amplify the puffiness of the under eyes, and the reason for that is the photos that I gave it for reference when making me. The photos I gave it for reference had a lot of overlighting, so meaning that it's casting shadows underneath, making it look worse than it is, which is a massive pain in the ass. But that's why a lot of the photos I've generated in the past, you can see it kind of on every single one that I do. It is doing the same thing. So when you're taking photos and building your own model, you really need to make sure, this one's not so bad, but you really need to make sure that you've got extremely even lighting across your face. Not so much that it can't really pick out your features, but not so little that it's like, you know, giving you massive undershadows or puffy eyes, or even just like, what's another thing? It will even copy your hairline. So if I took photos but, you know, push these bits up as much as possible, it's gonna give me a hairline that kind of goes up like that. So it's gonna, you know, mimic you as much as possible. Strong eyeshadow, yeah. Hard shadow isn't desirable for sure. Even a slight shadow when you're making AI art can mess things up. So where were we? We had this before. And we've gotten 1, 2, 3. 2 isn't so bad. I think I just prefer the one that I've got. That one's fine. Right, now this is my favorite. This has become my favorite part. Let's put the brush size to 100, and then let's redo the suit. This has become my favorite part, because you never really know what you're gonna get, and it's always exciting. Even if it gives you the exact same thing, it'll give you it in a higher quality, and it's just, wow. It's always amazing what it comes up with. The fact that I'm able to do this in my lifetime is crazy. I didn't think this kind of technology would be around until about 2080. Like, for real, that was my best guess. 2080 is when this kind of tech will be around. And we've got it in 2023. It makes no sense to me that this is, not only that this is out, but this is free is crazy. Like, I don't understand how it's free. I don't understand how I'm able to just do this now. I also, like, one of the videos that we're going to be watching in a bit is talking about, like, the dangers of ChatGPT, but no one is talking about how many people this type of software is going to put out the business. I was talking about it in the last stream, and I'm going to post that as a video next week on YouTube, right? Like, the amount of people that this program has just made unemployed and they don't even know it yet. It's terrifying, man. Okay, let's snap to grid. Like, let's be real. If I tried to hire someone on Fiverr to make this for me, I'd be poor after the first drawing. Like, this is just mental. Right, let's get rid of dynamic expression. Actually, just leave it, doesn't really matter. It knows that I'm in here. Let's tell it 0.75 and tell it to only make 3. Because this is this is 1024 by 1280. This is a big image. It's going to take a little bit longer. There's a possibility that it just crashes as well. Hey Breathius, how's it going, dude? How did you get hold of it? It's completely free. If you want to use this, the program's called Invoke AI. You can find it on GitHub. Invoke AI is basically just Stable Diffusion. Stable Diffusion is, I recommend automatic 1111 or automatic quadruple 1, however you want to say it. It's more difficult to use than Invoke AI, so I'd suggest to start here, but know that Invoke AI has way fewer add-ons because this is an easier to use program. I only use it because the unified canvas is like nothing else I've ever seen. It's so good. But yeah, Invoke AI, there's a subreddit, there's a Discord server. I highly recommend going to the Discord server. And then there's 2 people on YouTube I'd recommend. The first guy is Olivio Sarakas. He just released a video titled Invoke AI Did It Again. He'll go through basically most of what Invoke AI does, and you can learn about it there. And then I also recommend, actually there's a few people that I recommend. Olivio Sarakas, let's see here. Wow, Topaz Labs, did they just drop like 20 videos at once? What's happening here? Yeah, Jesus. James Cunlife is quite good, though he doesn't release videos that often. Matt Wolf is phenomenal for learning stuff as well. Nerdy Rodent is really, really good as well. Another top tier guy. And AI Entrepreneur. All of those are 10 out of 10 channels for learning how to make AI art. I watch like all of them all the time. Okay, let's see what we got. So we went from this. Hold on. Yeah, we went from this. See, look how much higher the quality is on that. That looks great. Dude, blending the hand behind the fire, actually 10 out of 10 idea. We've lost a lot of like the gold accents in here, but what we've gained from that is definitely worth it. Look at the cool little like, I don't know what these are on the hips, but these are cool, man. What else have we got? Cool, a thinner version. Very cool. And this one. So they're kind of all same-ish. The glow in the hands there makes no sense and kind of draws attention to the hands, and they don't look great, so that's an instant no. This one, I really like the accents of gold along the hips here as opposed to like the buttons it's went for. The bracers look really good. I like this one. That's really good. And then just out of curiosity, let's put it all the way up to like 1. Generate an entirely new super suit. Let's get 5 of them and just see what happens. This is always a really fun part. Hey Juicy. Yeah, I've been back for a while. Well, I say for a while. This is my 3rd stream of the year. 3rd? 4th? fourth, third. This is easily a $1,200 job. Yeah, exactly, for sure. This is the amount of money you'd pay to get someone to do this for you is, I don't even want to know. What was I gonna say? But yeah, I've been back for a while. I've only like my third or fourth stream this year, but I was pretty consistent from what, August to December, until some real, you know, personal stuff came up this year. But now we're back. Although it's looking like I'm gonna have to take a break for like half of May, but that's a while away. We got time to get momentum. For anyone that doesn't know what my schedule is right now, I'm gonna do my best to update everything this weekend across all the social medias and all that. I am live on Tuesdays and Fridays at 2 p.m. UK time, GMT. So I started 50 minutes ago. Normally live for anywhere between 2 to 4 hours. And, you know, then I'm gone. But the YouTube channel, which I should have done that before. Hold on. If I do that, and then I can do this, and then I can pin it. And then we can say it until the stream ends. There we go. The YouTube channel, I'll take bits of stream and put one up every single day, and I'm starting that back on Monday. I'm just trying to get a backlog before I do that first. Let's see here. Good. Gives it more 3-point perspective now. It's really amazing what this can do. You can also see in the top here how many it's made. So it's on 3 out of 5 right now. Like I said, because this is a much higher resolution image that I'm trying to re-render, it is not going to be quick. As opposed to making like a little 512 by 512 image, I can generate an entirely new image in roundabout, I don't know, 5 seconds, 7 seconds. All right, I'll catch you later, Ryan. Good to see you again, man. Have a great rest of your day. Tea time. Tea time? Hey, Meryl. Have I read everything? I did, yeah. Alan Turing. Yeah, Alan, oh, that's what it was. I was talking about this on Tuesday. Dude, it's generated me without arms so many times now. All these new images we're gonna see have got no arms. Alan Turing is the one. Is that what it was called? No, I know there's the Turing test. And the Turing test is being able to discern, is discern the right word? Being able to tell the difference between a robot and a human, and when a robot passes that, that's when you've got true AI or something like that. But what is the curve called that we're supposedly stuck on for computing right now? I can never remember what that's called. And it's the reason why new CPUs are getting slower and slower and slower in terms of, you know, 10 years ago when you got a new CPU, it'd be way better than the last one. And now you're looking at about a 5 to 7% increase per new generation. What did we get? So we've went from this to this. Okay, so it's not realized I have arms, but it's looking kind of cool. Yeah, it's not understood at all what the kind of goal was here. I don't know why it thinks I have no arms. I have arms, okay? This isn't gonna be like a PewDiePie situation where he has no legs and I have no arms. I have arms, for sure. These do look cool though. Cool, I'd call that a finished image. I'm kind of happy with that. Let's see, let's get rid of the mask. And then let's pan over. I mean, that looks pretty good to me. Is there anything else I'd really want to do? That bit doesn't make too much sense to me. I went for the model with the glowing hands. I didn't even realize. That was a mistake. God damn it. I did not mean to do that. Right, what if we... Is this still at 100? Wow. What if we do this? Okay. Grab that whole bit. And then we shrink that down to there. So it doesn't really know what it is. I just want to see what it does. 3 images with a strength of 80. Go. Let's just see. Moore's Law. Thank you, Michael. That's what I was talking about. Moore's Law. Why was I talking about it? I can't remember. Be right back, short drive. Cool. But no, it was Moore's Law. That's what I was. What has it done? You've not understood the assignment and you've failed. See, this is the issue. If it doesn't have enough context for what it's doing, then it will just mess up. Okay, if we try now, with it knowing that this is a body, well, kind of knowing that this is a body, we can see what it will do. Will take a little bit longer because it now has to take in more information. You can see it's kind of, as far as I understand it, it's understanding what color is where and then using those colors to kind of guess what color should be down there. We'll see. Man, I'm kind of sick of drinking protein shakes. I've been working out hard recently, and I tell you what, it's 2 protein shakes a day. It's supposed to be a protein cookie. It's supposed to be a bunch of chicken, and I'm struggling. I don't know how these bodybuilders do it, where they're eating all this protein every single day, because me personally, I'm sick of it already. And I've been at it for a couple of weeks that I've been trying to, up my protein intake. That one kind of makes a little bit more sense than the other. That almost looks like an outstretched finger on a hand. I'm gonna keep that. I kind of like it. I might cut it off. That's a finished image. I'm happy with it. Save it to gallery. And then let's go over to here. And then we went from 1 to 2 to 3. That's pretty good. Where's the original? No, I was wrong. We went from this image 1 to 2, 3, and 4. That's pretty goddamn good. I'd call that a success. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna download the image. And then later on, I'm gonna upscale that in gigapixel. Sorted. That is a good image. I really do. I'm gonna delete the originals as well because I don't need all of these. And then I have it synced to a drive to upload them all as well. Because I like to be able to show my what's the term? Mother-in-law? I like to show my mother-in-law the images when I go around because it's just fun. I like showing people, I could honestly stand here all day and do this. I'll sit down at night, chuck on a podcast or a stream or something, or a YouTube video, and I'll just sit here spending hours making AI art. It's so satisfying. I really wish, I don't know what I wish. I don't wish for anything. I'm doing what I love. I love it. Yeah. Okie dokie, shall we watch some videos? Well, let's go back to headquarters real quick. Have you been doing the fruit smoothies in between those protein shakes to be able to feed the proteins with vitamins and minerals? No. I have just been taking, whatchamacallit. I've been taking multivitamins, and I've also been taking creatine. So no, my diet right now is gone. My diet is atrocious. I don't even want to talk about my diet. My diet right now is eat everything, and I mean everything in the cupboards. To the point that I'm trying to shop for less, because when I go to the gym, I get so unbelievably hungry for the next 24 hours that I just can't stop eating. I can't. I need to make sure there's no goddamn food in the cupboards or I eat it all. And even if I don't eat it all, I'm still going to the supermarket. Even if I do eat it all, I go to the supermarket immediately after because I'm hungry. Shame probably why it's been sucky. The problem is, right? 2 protein shakes, a protein cookie. I should change my category. 2 protein shakes, a protein cookie. There we go. Call it that. That's fine. 2 protein shakes, protein cookie, and a bunch of chicken, all of which will get me up to around about 120 to 150 grams of protein a day. And I should be closer to 200, 250, right? All of that is, what is that again? That's like 3, 6, 800, 1,000, probably somewhere between 1,300 to 1,500 calories. And then I'm gonna have a dessert after dinner. And then we're at 2,000. So I don't really have like the calorie space unless I'm hitting cardio every day to have much more than I'm having right now. Vegetables and fruits don't have calories and therefore are healthier for snacks or workouts. Yeah, I mean they do have calories. There's definitely like an accountable amount of calories. You know, and if you eat enough of it, then it is gonna, you know. But yeah, I do like a little steamed bag of veggies every now and then, but it's been a while. They provide you with energy. Yeah, true. I don't know. I do need to figure something out. Maybe smoothies is the way. I don't know what it is right now. All I know is that I am eating way too much. Like, I'm gaining weight right now despite going to the gym. So I need to sort it out. Or I need to be hitting the treadmill, doing a couple thousand miles a day. To be honest, I'd rather just eat less. Okay, sticking on the theme of AI, I have a video called The Real Danger of ChatGPT. Now, the thing that's interesting about this is Nerdwriter1 wrote it, and that's why I want to cover it. I do, however, want to finish my protein shake, have a little bit of water, and then we'll go from there. Is the music in the background too loud, by the way? I've just realized the volume level is kind of hitting. And I'm wondering if that's okay. Right, protein shake done. First of 2 today. It's fine, I'll have the other one when I get back. I was a physical fitness NCO in the military. This was information I had to be proficient at when I was in the service. Gotcha, so you have many, many trainings on it. Okay. The thing is, I'm not exercising the same way they do in the military. That's why I'm like, I don't know what else I can have. What I really need to do is I need to start logging like the actual calorie counts of everything I'm eating in order to make sure that I'm sticking underneath the 2,500 line. Really, right now, I want to be round about 2,000, 2,200 and I'd be happy. But I'm having way more than that. Oh, okay. Oh, I forgot to put a goddamn timer on the chat window. I wanted to do that. God damn it. Oh well. What you gonna do? I think I've got my audio levels better balanced than before at calorieking.com. I've been using was it MyFitnessPal? I think I used MyFitnessPal for a bit. There's a bunch of different ones that I've tried. I get really frustrated with user interfaces. If it's not an easy to use, quick to load one for logging food, I stop using it within a week. MyFitnessPal was terrible when it came to speed. I mean, atrocious. But hey-ho. Right! The Real Danger of ChatGPT by Nerdwriter1. I am addicted to AI right now. I'm addicted to it. I can't get enough of it. I can see the future, and I see where this is possibly gonna go. I see it. Mass layoffs! Nobody works anymore! And we all live in a blissful nirvana of wealth and food, and we're all fine. That's the ideal. But Nerdwriter1, I assume, has a different take to what I'm saying. Because I'm joking. And I think it's going to be terrible. But let's find out what Nerdwriter1 thinks about the real dangers of ChatGPT. Okie dokie, let's give it a play. By the way, go like the video. Go subscribe to Nerdwriter1. His videos are 10 out of 10. I love them. And he's got an
In the
audio,
last few weeks, ChatGPT, the artificial intelligence chatbot built by OpenAI, has been on an ambitious killing spree. Timelines overflow with eulogies to its victims, search engines, copywriters, coders, high school essays, and many more.
Dude, I've talked about this already in other YouTube videos and streams. I have used this to code already. It's so goddamn good, and the version of ChatGPT I'm using is a year out of date. I can't wait because it's only trained up to 2021. I cannot wait to see what the new version of this does whenever they release it, because I know that Bing, the new version of Bing with ChatGPT built into it, which is to the day up to date, it's good. It's really good. And I can only imagine that ChatGPT's own personal version on their website is going to be even better.
Now, reports of these impending deaths may be exaggerated. Human beings love to write the words, "This will change everything," only
this legit will change everything
to shrug a year later when this changed very little. ChatGPT might be a game changer, it might not be. Either
I guess it's never when something, hold on, let me rewind this quickly. It's never a case of this will change everything means it's going to change everything within, you're talking a year. Best example, self-checkouts are going to change everything. Did they change everything overnight? No. Did my lady go to the supermarket the other night and there were, I'm not exaggerating, 15 tills and only one person was manning a till at 7 o'clock, which is near enough, a pretty busy time to go to the supermarket. There's one person on one till and one person at 12 self-checkouts because you don't need to hire 12 people now. You've got 12 robots and one person to manage them. Yes, that's how this kind of stuff changes everything. 10 years from now, assuming companies or governments don't put in place laws that either make it pointless to have AI in the workplace. How could you do that? For example, if a company is taxed the exact same amount for having one employee or one robot, maybe it's not as beneficial having a person, but then you think, well, the robot never calls out sick, the robot never makes mistakes, the robot only needs repaired once a week, and the robot works 24 hours for the same price as electricity. Then yeah, you're gonna have to put some serious governmental blocks in place to stop this kind of thing from taking jobs, because in the same way that you can have one person man 12 self-checkouts, you can have one coder manning 12 machines that are writing code for you. It's this doesn't exact, it's not an exact one-to-one, but you see what I'm saying.
Very little.
Game development, writing scripts for movies, coding, these jobs are going to be gone.
ChatGPT might be a game changer, it might not be. Either way, the bot is undeniably impressive.
It is. Would you say Grammarly is an early form of ChatGPT? No. ChatGPT is, I can never remember the best way to describe it, but something along the lines of ChatGPT is a language model. It understands, or it can see the letters and the way you've arranged them and the words and the way you've arranged them, and then can figure out how to respond to that. Grammarly is literally just, it sees how you've spelt a word wrong and will, or you've written a sentence wrong and will correct that sentence, but it can't answer questions. It has no understanding of what you're actually writing. It just knows that that's wrong.
What really astounds is its rhetorical muscle, its ability to generate paragraphs of coherent argument or narrative. Obviously, there are several million humans to which it can't hold a candle in this regard, but it instantly hurdled...
That's not really true.
...several million others, landing somewhere in the neighborhood of a high school student who's perfectly happy with a B- on their...
I would say it's kind of beyond that, because if you're saying that, in terms of the spectrum of human writers, it's right in between the worst and the best, the problem with saying that is, well, maybe it's not the problem with saying that, but it doesn't take into account the fact that it can write in the style of. So let me see if I could load up ChatGPT right now, but I'm not logged in, which means I've got to turn off the screen. Hold on. I'll do it another time, because I don't have a fresh ChatGPT that I can use for stream, and I don't want to go through and clear everything. But I could write, for example, write an essay on the sun in the style of Shakespeare, and it could quite well, I'd say halfway between here and here, really. Maybe not as far, but I think it's closer to a good college student than it is to a high school student right now. That's what I would say.
Pride and Prejudice book report.
One thing I've seen recently is a lot of people that think that AI tech is going to be the end of people doing this and that and this and that, but then they also don't understand or haven't seen how far that technology is already. That's the part that people should be worried about. It's way further than most people understand it, in terms of making art, in terms of making video, in terms of being able to write and take over jobs. It's way further ahead than you would think. Way further ahead.
20 years ago, that was my neighborhood. If I had access to ChatGPT in 10th grade English, I would have used it without compunction. Why waste a perfectly good afternoon scratching out a 5-paragraph essay on Austen's depictions of social class when I could generate this in seconds? In America, we don't...
God, I keep interrupting him, but I've got so many things to say on this, and what's the point in us watching this and me making this into a video for YouTube if I don't have an opinion on it and we're just sitting here watching it, right? One thing that I think is interesting, or going to be interesting, is I reckon that the way that people submit essays is going to change over the course of the next 20 years. Rather than writing an essay on something, I think I wouldn't be surprised if things moved more towards writing an essay on how you understand that thing. So how do I mean? I mean, rather than writing an essay saying, like this, one of the main characters, Mr. Darcy, is a wealthy aristocratic landowner who is, rather than just saying what he is, describe it. I wouldn't be surprised if essays moved more towards why that person is the way they are, rather than what they are. Because a lot of people, at least in my experience, when you're writing essays, you are just summarizing what the character is or what they do, or you're just like, writing nonsense that you don't really need to write. It's a, prominent and recurring subject throughout the novel. Austen presents a highly stratified society in which individuals are judged. I think the more interesting part, or a more interesting essay, would be going over each thing and maybe talking about how things got to where they are, why they are the way they are, rather than just recapping the book. Because that's the most boring part to me, and why I always hated, when I ever did have to write an essay, why I hated it. Because I'm just sitting there wasting my time recapping, rather than really talking about why things are the way they are. What the real takeaways are. Because I don't think an AI like ChatGPT is going to, anytime soon, be able to really tell you or explain from a human point of view why things are the way they are and why you feel they should be that way or shouldn't be that way. That's a way more interesting way to write an essay. I would love to see that, rather than just summarizing garbage.
In America, we don't call this cheating. We call it working smarter. Maybe the eulogies are fitting. Maybe we'll outsource writing to ChatGPT like we outsourced math to calculators, spelling to spell check, memory
100%.
to the internet. To a certain extent, the prevalence of essay writing in school reflects the decline of memorization as a method of teaching and learning.
I always thought that having to memorize things in school, and your ability to memorize versus someone else's being the real judge for how well you're going to do in your final test, I always thought that sucked. Someone else who could memorize how to perform this mathematical equation when you couldn't remember how to do it was it wasn't a case of, how do I put this? I never felt like when I was in school or when I was learning, that I really was given the time to truly understand how to do a mathematical equation for whatever it was, algebra or whatever. I was just told to memorize it. But the teachers that I had never took the time to make sure you understood it, right? Another thing that I think in schooling needs to change, if the only, understanding is so much more important than memorization. It's so much more important. Do you know there's a program teachers use right now that allows them to see if a paper has been plagiarized? Yes. It wouldn't surprise me if they alter it. So they added key language hooks to catch ChatGPT users. I know that I've heard talk that there's no way to really catch it right now, because you can type in prompts into ChatGPT like, make sure this can't be caught by a plagiarism program. So you can actually input that to make it change the way it writes. They'll be forced to do essays in class. I wouldn't be surprised on that, but again, I personally think the whole schooling system right now in a lot of countries is stupid, and it's geared towards memorizing rather than understanding. We all know at least one person who made it through school with grades that were way higher than they should have had because they were able to memorize things better than everyone else. But when you talk to them, it's like talking to a brick wall that's able to smile. We all know someone like that. And if I just it's so important to make sure that people understand how and why they're doing something rather than just memorizing it. It's so important, especially when you're growing up, because it helps your brain develop. Doing math when you're young, algebra and all that, I've said it before, is the most boring thing in the world. Most people don't understand why they're doing it, and they say, I could do this with a calculator, I'll never use it in the real world. And the reason you do it, or the reason you're supposed to do it, is because doing math and solving puzzles when you're younger is like working out your brain. And the more you do it when you're younger, the easier that kind of stuff is going to be over the course of your life. If you're just memorizing things, all you're really doing is improving your ability to remember things over the course of your life. I've got an eidetic memory. Hi, nice to meet you.
A decline that
Dude,
feels
if you've got an eidetic memory,
inevitable, maybe
you're
even
gonna win over
appropriate
everyone.
in a world where the totality of human knowledge is pocket-sized. We assign essays because they allow teachers to gauge a deeper understanding in their students. They require more than just recall. They require a personal synthesis of information which can't be outsourced to a machine.
I personally have never felt that that's true, but maybe I'm wrong.
Or couldn't be until a few weeks ago. Pretty soon, English teachers are going to get that question math teachers have been getting for decades. When will we ever need this stuff in real life? Now, bullshit won't work here. Teens are just too savvy for that. The truth is that you'll probably never have to calculate a definite integral once you leave school. And the truth is, we'll likely outsource many categories of basic writing to AI and never look back.
It's the exact same answer to math as it would be to English. The more you do this when you're younger, the easier life will be. The more math you do when you're younger, the easier problem solving and puzzle solving will be later in life. You're working out your brain when it's growing and pliable, so that when it stops growing and starts inevitably dying, you are not struggling as much with puzzle solving as the next guy. For example, put me into a strategy game. I'm probably better in most strategy games than about 90% of the planet because I grew up playing them. When I say 90%, I mean your average person who maybe doesn't play games, or even people that do play games, right? You put your average Call of Duty player in, your average whatever player in, your average Civilizations player in, right? I'm going to be better in strategy in a game like Civilization than 90% of people, and then the people that grew up playing Civilization have a better understanding of diplomacy and war tactics will be better than me at that, right? Because I grew up playing that kind of thing. You can drop me into any strategy game and I'll have a much better understanding of how to, engage in diplomacy with another nation in order to get them to join me or work with me to take out another nation, to take out the blah blah, to take out the blah blah, because I grew up doing that. And I understand it. I wasn't just told what to do and did it, I understand it. The more English that you do, the more you understand the English language, the easier it's going to be to communicate with other people. A lot of people these days, you'll say one thing and the answer you get is, wait, do you mean, you'll go, man, isn't the sky so blue today? And they'll go, do you mean that it should be cloudy today? And you're standing there going, I was just saying it's a nice, it's a blue sky. Do you mean that the weather's good today or that it shouldn't be? People don't understand what they're saying to each other. Because people aren't paying attention in school and aren't understanding how to speak their own language and how to interpret their own language. It sounds crazy, but then these people fail in English and you wonder why they struggle to understand what other people are saying. And then these are the people that go on social media and talk all day and misunderstand people and create drama where it doesn't need to be.
Am I making sense? Complex kinds,
like memorizing a date and year for some random historical event, and eventually never ever know what was so important about that date. Exactly. That's you're nailing it. How else would you think I run 14 different D&D games a month? Good memory. Right.
Of writing, you could die and never look back. Now, for other more complex kinds of writing, you could simply start with ChatGPT, let it provide the basic structure, then edit to your liking. Editing, after all, is another way to synthesize information.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's good. Because if you can read something, understand that it's right, and then add to it, there's nothing wrong with that.
Maybe ours will become a culture of editors, tweakers, embellishers. Would that be so bad? Well, the insipid teenage me would probably say no.
I don't think that would be bad for adults. I think that would be terrible for anyone in school, in primary or high school. I think when you get to college, that it wouldn't matter.
But the 34-year-old me, the one who ironically became a professional essayist, leans the opposite way. The difference between writing and editing is like the difference between writing and reading. Reading is enormously important. Obviously, it closes the gaps of our ignorance and expands our knowledge, but it does so through the language of others. Their words, their sentences, their narratives and arguments. Editing, too, begins with the language of someone else. In the case of ChatGPT, something else. Of course, to some extent, writing is editing, too. We inherit our language and its rules from culture, from the past. We express ourselves through a system that we didn't invent. But that system is so infinitely flexible that we can use it to create structures of our own. Language is how human beings understand themselves and the world. But writing is how we understand uniquely.
I don't know if this is at all relevant, but in understanding language and how human beings understand each other and also the world around them through language, it's not really on point. But if you've ever seen the movie Arrival, that what he just said will hit a little harder. It's a sci-fi movie. If you've never seen it, it's called Arrival. Go watch it. It's I'm not going to tell you anything about it other than it's a 10 out of 10 movie. I highly recommend it. And it's a unique take on communication. I'll leave it at that. Go give it a watch.
Not to write is to live according to the language of others, or worse, to live through edits, tweaks, and embellishments to language generated by an overconfident AI chatbot. I doubt this argument would convince the teenage me to resist a free magic tool that promises easy grades for less work. As ever, it's left to teachers to impassion their students within a system that prioritizes grades.
I would say, hold on, I want to hear that last little bit again.
Teenage me to resist a free magic tool that promises easy grades for less work.
I would argue that if we, as a planet, as a race, as a society, whatever, are at the point where a robot, an AI, or whatever you want to call it, a piece of software, is able to do what you need for school, to write your essays for you, to get you higher grades, then it is time for the education system to evolve around that. Either around it or away from it. It shouldn't be a case of something can fill in and do that for you, unless, like in the case of math, doing that thing helps you in the long run. Doing more math when you're younger is like working out for your brain, which makes life easier in the long run. And to reiterate on what I'm saying there, if that's the right word, if you, let's say, start going to the gym between 20 and 22, and then you take off 5 years, or let's say 2 years, and then you go back and start going to the gym again, you're going to gain the muscle that you gained between 20 and 22 faster than you would if the first time you started going to the gym was when you were 24. Once you've gained that muscle once before, it's easier to gain it back. And it's harder and harder to gain that muscle for the first time the older you get. So you want to start this stuff when you're young. If you're 18, 19, 20, 21, start going to the gym now, because it only gets harder to develop that stuff for the first time. And it's the same with your ability to play a strategy game, to understand language, to solve puzzles, even small things. Like, you might not even realize it, but even small things like, getting good hand-eye coordination when you're young through playing sports might make it easier to reverse park a car because you've got better understanding and better spatial awareness. As opposed to someone who never really did sports when they're younger, has no spatial awareness, and as such, can't reverse park a car without, learning how to do it through countless driving sessions. It's small things like that builds up into bigger things. I think you see what I'm saying. I'm getting lost in my own sauce right now.
As ever, it's left to teachers to impassion their students within a system that prioritizes grades over learning. Often they succeed, but even when they don't, they still do the heroic work of giving insipid high schoolers like myself basic writing competence. In my 20s, when I began to wonder who I really was and what I really believed, questions that come for all of us, I discovered that writing, structuring language of my own, was the only way to find out. That's when the foundation teachers worked so hard to give me proved its immense value. I hope future...
That's more or less what I've been saying. He more or less just said what I've been saying, but because his understanding of the English language is better than mine, he was able to easier convey what I have been trying to say, and in a much shorter way, and I want to hear it again. That was the way he just said that was perfect.
But I really believed, questions that come for all of us. I discovered that writing, structuring language of my own, was the only way to find out.
Perfect. This right here is a perfect example of someone who studied harder in high school than I ever did, studied harder than I ever did, and now their ability to form language and communicate is as such better than mine. You need to pay attention in school.
That's when the foundation teachers worked so hard to give me proved its immense value. I hope future generations have a similar foundation. One way or another, new writing is on its way from the future to make sense of all of us. I think we'll prefer it to be our own.
I don't think
Hey everybody,
we'll prefer it to
thank
be
you so
our
much
own.
for watching 2023.
Yeah, he's got a new book.
Guys, and
go check it out if you want to check it out. That was The Real Danger of ChatGPT by Nerdwriter1. I can't recommend his channel enough. As you can see, he's a fantastic communicator, an incredibly intelligent person, and makes some really good videos. I mean, my main thought on that is, if you don't explain why you're doing something to someone, they're not going to care and not going to do it. If you explain why you're doing math and why you're studying English in school to people properly and help them understand how much of a benefit it can be to them when they're younger, as opposed to trying to catch up later in life and just telling them, for example, when I was younger, the default line that you'd hear from adults was, if you don't go to school, you're gonna be a bin man. That was the default line that I heard from adults around me. If you don't go to school, you're going to be a bin man. No one ever told me why I was doing anything, and as such, I struggled immensely. Anytime I did go to school, I struggled immensely. But if you explain to people why they're doing it, they won't try to use the program or the thing that's going to make life easier. They'll use it as a tool in the same way we use math to help us solve things, but we can also still do it. Some people can also still do it themselves. Like I can add and subtract and divide and multiply, etc., without the need of a calculator, right? But I'll still use the calculator to make that process quicker. But I understand the process that I'm going through when I'm doing it. I understand it. I understand what's going on. You just have to. Yeah, I'm waffling on a lot during this because I don't fully know how to articulate what it is that I want to come across. But in summary, ChatGPT is going to take over the education system. It's about finding a way to make sure that it is used as a tool rather than a replacement. Movies are a primal example of why we are just editors now. There hasn't been an authentic, original idea out of Hollywood since Hollywood became Hollywood. It's been a reproduction of old movies, books, comics, TV shows, etc., with no new ideas. I mean, the reason for that is not because it's easier. In my opinion, and let me be clear, I do not believe it's because it's easier to edit. I don't believe for a second that that's the reason. The reason all movies are the same and all shows are the same, and we don't get any original stuff really much anymore, is because that doesn't make money. That's because of a capitalist system that pushes people to do what is most profitable. If you had a system in place where the main goal was to make sure that you could make something original and recoup the costs while also making sure that everyone who worked on it was able to survive, financially be comfortable for a year. For example, let's say I want to make a movie and my only goal of the movie is to hire 10 people to make it and 10 actors. And at the end of it, I just want to recoup costs. But it takes a year to make it. And knowing that I'm making this movie will pay for all 20 of those people's lives for a full year. And at the end, I recoup the cost, not make any profit, just recoup the cost, then I can do it again. You'd have so many more original things made, as opposed to, well, look how much money I made on this. I can make more money with a bigger budget. I believe that's a result of capitalism, not a result of laziness. It's, that's what capitalism is. It's refining to the point of maximum profit. It's not centered on creativity or making sure that people can get by at all. But that's an argument for another day. If you're watching in the future, like the video and stay super. Well, that was fun. I really need to work on my ability to better communicate. Every now and then I'll be talking about something and I will realize that I am not able to properly communicate my thoughts on something. I would say about 80% of the time, it's not because I haven't fully formed my own thoughts on it. It's that I just lack the ability to properly, it's happening right now. I lack the ability to properly explain in short form and have to expand and expand and expand on the same thing to make sure that I feel I'm getting everything that I feel about it across, rather than being able to just summarize everything in a couple of words. And the good thing about that is I'm aware of it, and that means I know I need to sit down and start watching some more YouTube videos and start reading some more on how to better dictate my feelings on a situation. Unironically, ChatGPT is great at helping to explain a thought. I haven't tried it for that, Wiljen, but it sounds like I need to. I wasn't told that. I was told by my father, who has a PhD in English, mind you, you can either make money or make more money with an education. If you choose not to strive in school and are okay with a mediocre job, you can probably make it in life. That's true. If you work hard in school, I can guarantee you even more money in your future. That's true. I mean, well, is that still true? I would argue that's not still true. But I'd only argue that on very, if I'm being honest, on very, very minimal, what's the word? Very minimal information. I would say that sure, you can work really hard in school, really, really hard, and be top of your class, but if you're coming out with an English degree, you're not really going to make much more than teaching English, as far as I'm aware, unless you're going to go into journalistic writing, which is about to go out the window with ChatGPT. More or less, there's a lot of things that you can study really hard for and end up making nothing at the end of it, because there's either no call for it, or you picked the wrong thing at the wrong time. If you're going into journalism right now, I would argue go into it expecting to do it as a self-employed second job, and learn how to use ChatGPT, and then start a blog or start a YouTube channel, write about what you love, and learn how to edit, and then edit ChatGPT scripts. Because you could really, for example, if I had ChatGPT and I wanted to write an essay on superheroes, what I'd probably do is start off with a prompt to ChatGPT, and I'd say, hey, what are the most popular superheroes right now? And it would tell me, and then I'd go, okay, cool, so now I know what superheroes to focus this on, and I'd say, are there any controversies surrounding them? Then it would list all of those, and then I would just, at the end of asking all my questions, I'd go, take this, and this information that you already gave me and combine that into a script. You want to learn to prompt craft. That's where journalism is going, in my opinion. Now, there is one thing that's an issue with that, in that ChatGPT is trained on people. What happens when the vast majority of information out there is written by AI? It means, of course, what? It means that the AI is going to be trained on AI, so everything's going to start sounding the same. That's just the downside of, that's the major downside of where things will go. We're only going to need one magazine and one newspaper, because everyone's going to be writing the same thing, unless it's written by a person at that point, or unless someone, develops their own writing style and then trains their own personal ChatGPT bot on it to make sure that their AI scripts are different than everyone else's. It's going to be a model-based system, and capitalism is going to destroy everything. And model-based system, by that I mean, I have a model trained on my face. No one else can copy this model unless I take a bunch of pictures of me and then combine that into a brand new model. This model is my model, and if I could then license it and sell this model to other people to make artwork with me, that would be fine. But that's the way it's going, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I mean, going back to what you were saying, Breathless, and hey, Night Lion, how's it going, man? Happy Friday. Going back to what you were saying, or what you were saying your dad said, for sure, the harder you work in school, the better your future is most likely going to be. But I would definitely say there are a lot of people, you know, I know people with bachelor's degrees from university. They went 3 or 4 years to uni, and then they just ended up doing nothing. I know a fair few. Yeah, I know about a handful of people that have got bachelor's degrees and went nowhere with it because they just didn't pick the right topic. You know, and he never did the burger flippers or garbage man job threats like my friends got. Well, that's a sign of a great dad. You know, a sign of a bad parent is someone that tries to put fear into you in order to get you to do something rather than trying to educate you on why you should be doing something. Fear is not a tactic that you should use on anyone at any point in time, as far as I'm concerned, unless you're in a life-threatening situation, at which point fear is absolutely a justified tactic in order to get people in order. But outside of that, no, it should always be explanation and education and understanding. You need to make sure that the people that you're talking to have the ability to comprehend what you're saying as well, because there's no point in educating someone and explaining why you're doing something if you're also not making sure that they can comprehend what you're saying. There's no point in me saying that clock when the little hand points down and long hand points to the right means it's 6:15. There's no point in me explaining that to someone and teaching them how to read a clock if they've got no concept of what day and night is. Don't get me wrong, mate, my father was former Special Forces and was a professor of literature at Purdue University, Florida, and then finally where we settled was Google College in my state before I retired. He made 6 figures with a PhD in English. Just depends on what you're doing. Absolutely, it definitely does depend on what you're doing, for sure. For sure, I agree. I do think things are a lot more harsh now than they were back when your father would have come up, but he is, you know, 100% correct. The harder you study, well, I mean, I guess I'm wrong in saying that you could study really hard and go nowhere with it. I guess if you didn't study hard in high school, then you didn't study hard enough to know what the right place to study next would be. So I guess in saying that, yeah, the harder you study, the better place you're going to get, because there's no point in studying hard in college if you didn't study hard in high school to know where you should be going to study next, or what you should be studying next. Yeah. Well, there we go. That was fun. This is why I love talking about AI, because it gets you into real deep conversations, and I can't emphasize enough. I love deep conversations on everything. I really do, because I've said this before and I'll say it again. I love being wrong about something or realizing I'm wrong, and the reason for that is it means that I'm learning when I realize I'm wrong, and I love learning. I don't personally understand the satisfaction that I get from it, but knowing that you're smarter the next day than you were the previous day, or knowing that you understand something better, I think with understanding comes happiness. Well, most of the time comes happiness, or at the very least comes contentment, you know? I think, because the alternative is, not to be controversial, but the alternative of understanding is giving away understanding. It's rather than understanding why the volcano has erupted and is melting your entire village, it's I give away understanding. It's God that's done it, you know, for me being bad, and you let something else make all your decision making, or your logical conclusions come from someone else's opinion, and it's all based on one person rather than truly understanding why things happen. I love being wrong. I love better understanding. I love learning. Education is a great thing. I could say getting my degrees makes me feel utterly useless, but I still get to use mine, I suppose, with side gigs. It's a win-win. I would say that's a win-win, for sure. I would definitely say it's a win-win. For sure. Right, I'm gonna have a little drink, and then we're gonna watch some Edgar Wright. Now, this video is 8 years old, so the quality of it isn't going to be as high as other videos would be, because, you know, 8-year-old YouTube video. But this has 10 million views, and I'm very interested. Okay. I think I went down the wrong pipe. Oh my god. Does anyone know if Gamer Sups has caffeine in it? I got 3 little test sachets, and I'm trying one of them right now. Very good. I don't feel like it's got caffeine in it, but at the same time, I feel like every time I have a little drink, my brain starts to... Anyway, Edgar Wright and how to do visual comedy. This is a video from Every Frame a Painting. It's like 8 years old, but it's got 10 million views. I love Edgar Wright, and I want to know why this video is so popular. Edgar Wright, if you don't know, Hot Fuzz, I almost said Pulp Fiction. Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, Scott Pilgrim, Baby Driver, can't remember any others, but visual comedy, I loved it growing up. You know, I was a big Jackie Chan fan growing up. Everything he did was amazing. We'll watch a video on that at some point soon. But for now, let's go watch this video on Edgar Wright and how to do visual comedy. Okie dokie. Dude, the first time I heard this song, I lost my mind. Oh, I talked over him, I'm sorry.
Hi, my name is Tony, and this is Every Frame a Painting. So today I'm going to talk about a director whose work I love, but before that, let me be upfront. I think comedy movies today, especially American ones, have totally lost their way. I
100% agree. I can't remember. Can I remember? I can't remember the last time I saw a comedy movie that I thought was really, really good. You know, what some of the most recent ones I saw, what was the Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum movie where they're in a jungle called? That had moments of comedy, but overall nowhere close to a Jackie Chan movie, nowhere close to a Hot Fuzz, you know, Shaun of the Dead. Now, is it fair to compare like a Sandra Bullock Channing Tatum movie to like a Jackie Chan top tier movie? Yes. If you're not going to learn from the past and make better, then I will compare them. The same guy made a great video about how Kon Satoshi cuts video. Who is Kon Satoshi? I like Hot Fuzz the most out of the Cornetto movies. I think Shaun of the Dead is the best one. I think it goes Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, World's End. It was only 3 they've made, right? No. There was the Alien one. Was that an Edgar Wright movie? I don't actually know. For anyone that's wondering who I'm talking to, if you're watching in the future on YouTube, I'm live on Twitch.
The jokes or the actors or the dialogue or the stories, though there's plenty of issues there. My real qualm is that the filmmaking, the use of picture and sound to deliver jokes, is just...
What? This is boring. Delete.
Look, everyone's taste is different. What you find funny is what you find funny.
That is so true. There's a unique talent to there's a unique talent to no, I'm not talking about World's End Alien one. I'm talking about Paul, I think it was called. Was that an Edgar Wright movie? What was I saying? There's a unique talent to combining audio and audio and visual to make funny. I don't have a zoom for my camera, but an example of that would be, you know, if you were to imagine it, because I don't have a zoom set up, if I was to go, rather than, without the zoom in, if I was to go, really? Versus, you know, if I was to turn and cut at the exact right point, hold it for a second, and then go, really, that's the type of difference. I should have a zoom. Everything with the setup is so not where I want it to be, but regardless, That's how I interpret visual comedy. It's zooms, it's using music, it's you can just be staring at someone, and then you play a sound and then it cuts away. There's so many ways to use it and do it, and there are so few movies that understand that. These days, it's a lot of, it's something, camera stays still, something stupid happens, it holds for way too long, cut to other character, and they go, what just happened? It's all written comedy. The visual comedy has really been lost. It's kind of crazy that this video was made 8 years ago and it's still so relevant.
So I'm not saying these movies suck or you suck if you like them. What I am saying...
Hold up, movies don't do visual comedy much. Where was that? Nowadays, all you get are quips and jokes that hit or miss. That's what I just said. Exactly, 100%.
So I'm not saying these movies suck or you suck if you like them. What I am saying is that these movies aren't movies. They're lightly edited improv. Everyone stands still and talks at each other in close-up.
That's what I just said!
None of these jokes come visually. They're overwhelmingly sound, and not even the full range of sound, it's just dialogue. And this is really sad, because that's just a fraction.
I 100% agree. I think the fact that he's got Anchorman on screen while saying this is the perfect example. Anchorman 1 was an absolute god-tier comedy movie. Anchorman 2... I am not exaggerating when I say this. I don't remember what it was about. I don't remember what happened. I barely remember laughing.
Even the full range of sound, it's just dialogue. And this is really sad because that's just a fraction of what's possible in cinema. Apart from animation and some commercials, visual comedy is actually moving backwards. And that's why, if you love this kind of stuff, I cannot recommend Edgar Wright enough.
Doctor, deal with it. Yeah, motherfucker.
He is one of the only people working in the genre using the full range of what is possible. And because of that, he can find humor in places that other people don't look. Here's an...
True. I think that another thing with visual comedy is you really have to have actors that understand comedy. How do I put this? Kevin Hart is really funny. Kevin Hart is a... If I had to rate him on a 1 to 10... for how funny he is during movies, comedy movies, he's probably like a 6 or a 7. To put that in perspective, The Rock is a 3 or a 4. And this is a real scale. This isn't like anything below 5 is terrible. I mean a real scale, like a 3 or a 4, probably closer to a 4, because he does have some funny movements. Kevin Hart is a 6, 7. Jackie Chan's a 10. Because he understands how to move his body and what to say to make that scene funny. Sean, I've forgotten his last name. Sean, and Sean, is it Sean? It's not Sean, is it? I can't remember his goddamn name. Anyway, Thingy and Nick Frost. How do I remember Nick Frost? And I don't remember his actual name right now. What is wrong with me? Thingy and Nick Frost together are a 10 out of 10. Nick Frost on his own is round about an 8, 9. They really add to each other a lot when they're together because they understand how to make funny together. Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime in comedy movies. Simon Pegg, thank you, Michael. Simon Pegg. Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime was a solid 7, 8. There are so few companies or so few acting studios that understand what visual comedy is and understand what kind of people are phenomenal at it. I can't remember the name of the movie. I made a video on it years ago. There was some kind of movie that came out. Oh my God, I just remembered. The guy who plays Napoleon Dynamite, a perfect example of someone that understands visual comedy from another point of view. But the problem is, when you get comedy movies these days, it's The Rock, it's Kevin Hart, it's Sandra Bullock, it's these actors that are phenomenal actors or great or good actors in roles that they aren't fully able to... really take advantage of, and it's frustrating. I want to see more chances taken on new actors so we can find the next Eddie Murphy, the next Jackie Chan, the next Arnold Schwarzenegger, the next Danny DeVito. My God, a 10 out of 10 in comedy. Everyone from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia are 10 out of 10 visual comedy actors. They're 10 out of 10s. But there's not enough places taking chances for sure. And that is a big part of why visual comedy is failing so much, because you can have a terrible movie and put Jim Carrey in it. And he will find a way to make it funny. You can have a terrible movie and put, what's another actor off the top of my head? Eddie Murphy in it, and it will be way better than it should be. Pluto Nash was a terrible movie and I still loved it because Eddie Murphy brought that up, because it's a visual comedy genius.
Example. Let's say you need to move your character from one city to another to get your story going. How do you shoot it? And can you get a joke out of it? Well, no.
Yes. Dumb and
Not if
Dumber.
you send out a second unit to do it. Every shot pans from left to right. You include really obvious landmarks and signs. You mix in generic helicopter footage, and you put upbeat music under it so the audience doesn't get bored.
I am so sick of this example.
This is just lazy film.
I love that Sandra Bullock is in this example when I just said that Sandra Bullock was an isn't someone that isn't able to properly take advantage of visual comedy. Jim Carrey, I mean, the entirety of Dumb and Dumber was about them driving from one place to another, wasn't it?
Making and boring. We've seen it a million times.
I don't think I've seen that many comedy films. I didn't find Scott Pilgrim vs. the World as comedy, but more as satire. I mean, I would classify satire as comedy for sure. Paul Wasn't by Edgar Wright. That makes sense because that movie wasn't great.
What would happen if you were truly inventive?
No, Arnold Schwarzenegger was in Twins. That was a comedy movie. He was in Jingle All the Way. That was a comedy movie. And off the top of my head, I can't remember any others, but he was in a few more comedies for sure.
With this type of scene.
Oh wait.
True filmmaking and boring. We've seen it a million times. What would happen if you were truly inventive with this type of scene? There we go.
Perfect.
And this isn't just a series
Absolutely
of quick cuts.
perfect.
There's a lot of good visual storytelling here. These two taxi shots tell you exactly where we came from and where we're going. These two shots emphasize the move away from civilization. Our main character always faces forward or to the right, so screen direction is respected. Turning the music down and the sound effects up is funny because each cut is jarring. And there's even some nice performances from Simon Pegg and Ryan Gosling. Okay, that was one example without context. You're right,
Ryan
totally
Gosling?
unfair. Well, what if you had a movie where a horrible apocalyptic event happens and you want to foreshadow it earlier, maybe by having the characters not notice something important on TV? How would you show it? Would you just throw it in the edit for 2 seconds and 2 frames and none of the shots shows the relationship between the characters and the TV?
He's having a housewarming party. Just finished building his house.
Or would you do
Seth Rogen is someone who I go back and forth on so often that it makes me dizzy. I feel like Seth Rogen is Seth Rogen is someone that makes me go, you know, like I always enjoy him in movies, but when I think about him, I don't fully understand why, because I like him in some stuff. I think he's always the exact same dude. Ryan Gosling is the goose. What goose? Ryan Gosling is a 9 out of 10 visual comedy actor. What was that movie he was in with, was it Russell Crowe? He was in a movie with, let me find out, because this is Russell Crowe, Ryan Gosling, The Nice Guys. Dude, if you've not seen The Nice Guys, this movie, this is the perfect example of Ryan Gosling being a 9 out of 10 visual comedy actor. He's so goddamn good in it. I can't recommend it enough. Back to the video.
Housewarming party. Just finished building his
Jim
house.
Carrey retired, so you'll never see him again. No shot. I don't believe that. Because one, he was in the new Sonic movie, so he'll probably come back for that. And two, I don't see Jim Carrey as the type of person that can't go out on a couple of movies that are absolute bangers. I feel like some of his movies recently have just not been good choices. and he is able to do so much more than he has done recently. I don't see him as the type of person that is working just for the money. I see him as someone who understands the industry. There's a reason that he was in The Grinch. It was so he could appeal to a new generation. There's a reason that he's in the new Sonic movies. It's so that he can appeal to a new generation. I don't believe that he's taking these roles because of what he's paid. I'd be surprised. I've watched some documentaries on him. He is a phenomenal actor who I think... See, if I had to guess, I would guess that Jim Carrey has fallen out of love with filmmaking, can't figure out how to get back into it, and doesn't want to step into a field where he's going to get criticized. If I could tell Jim Carrey what to be in next, I would absolutely ask him to do more drama/horrors. The number 23 and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, he was a 10 out of 10 in both of those. An absolute 10 out of 10. And then he went back to comedy, and I don't understand why, because there's so much more that he could do as an actor. I would love to see him in a serious horror movie, and every now and then see if he is an actor and a 10 out of 10 visual comedy specialist. See if he can bring in comedy to the horror without making it cringe. I think he could do it. I really do.
You do this.
I've only seen Mean Guys. What was Mean Guys? I think I've seen that. The Bad Guys? Mean Guys? I don't know what that is.
Prepared to comment. Religious groups are calling it Judgment
Day.
Between
I promise from this point on, I'm not going to pause as much. I've got so much to talk about with this, which is why we're watching
characters
it.
in the TV.
He's having a housewarming party. Just finished building his house.
Or would you do this?
Although no one official is prepared to comment, religious groups are calling it Judgment Day. There's
As an increasing number of reports of
serious attacks on
people who are literally being eaten alive.
Okay, still unfair. Well, what if you had a movie where one
Perfect.
character has stopped drinking, but the other characters are disappointed in him, and you want to get a joke out of it? How would you do it? Would they just stand around and talk about
Will Ferrell, 10 out of 10 comedy actor.
his drinking?
Has been taking some absolute mediocre roles. He needs to write his own stuff. He needs
But
to.
I told my wife I wouldn't drink tonight. Besides, I got a big day tomorrow. But you guys have a great time.
A big day? Doing what?
Or would you do this?
What?
I don't believe this.
This is what separates a mediocre director from a great one. The ability to take the most simple, mundane scenes and find new ways to do them. Great directors understand that you can get a laugh just through staging. Here's an example I cribbed from David Bordwell.
I do think that a lot of the reason we get really poor and really mediocre comedy movies these days is that directors are afraid to take a risk. They're afraid to put in anything that will allow them to be criticized. That's what I feel. Or that's the feeling I get when I watch a lot of stuff these days. It's the same as like a comedy movie that is worried that its comedy won't hold up. So in the final 20 minutes, you get the speech where they go, oh, you know, I guess throughout this entire journey, it was all just really a lesson for us to learn to be better people and to maybe not treat other people this way. And you're sitting there going, I thought this was supposed to be comedy. What's happening right now? And then they continue. And then when I was a child and I got hit by a bus and was in hospital for 17 years, and you're like, where's this coming from? Where's the comedy gone, man? It drives me nuts. And then they'll do one little joke at the end of that and everyone will go, ha 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 ha. It's almost as if they have to put that moment in where everything gets serious because they're afraid that if they don't, they'll be judged for it in some way. It's awful. The way that, I don't mean to be one of these comedy movies used to be better type of people, but I am saying that that's true. I just wish that directors would have more confidence in themselves and be willing to be criticized. That's one thing that drives me nuts. There are so many people that release, whether it's YouTube videos, they do live streams, they make movies or shows, they seem like they make them in fear of not being liked. And I'll admit, right, when it comes to streaming, I'll not want to do AI art on stream, and I'll not want to do this or play that or whatever, because I'm like, well, you've got to do what people want to see. I personally think you should do whatever you like, and people like you will come along and chill with you. That's the general thing. Everyone wants to be liked by everyone without realizing that not everyone, you know, likes Beyonce or likes Rihanna. It's when you I personally think when you understand that no matter how popular Rihanna and Beyonce are, that there are people that don't like them, and you, in your mind you think everybody loves Jim Carrey, everybody loves Arnold Schwarzenegger. No, not everyone's going to like you, and the sooner creative people understand that, the sooner they start making things that are like Edgar Wright, in my opinion. He said live on TV that he retired last year after Sonic 2, and after the Will Smith slap, he said he was done. He said he would produce, but he's not going to be on screen. If Jim Carrey could get away from Hollywood and just make things that, you know, it didn't matter if they made a profit, it mattered if they had creative, you could get creative satisfaction from them, I'd love to see what he would do with that, because I've seen some of his artwork and it's out there and it's phenomenal, and I wish he would treat acting the same way he treats his art. Separate the art from artists, separate movies from Hollywood, you know? If Sonic 3 is happening, they're not going to nail Eggman again without Carrey. I really hope that they... I will say, I didn't really like Jim Carrey in Sonic 2, but that was not because of him. That was because of the piss-poor editing. The editing of Sonic 2 was terrible, with every scene that Jim Carrey was in. It was like TikTok editing. What I mean by that was, here's an example. For anyone that's watching this on YouTube, they're gone. They're gone already. They don't... a series of unfortunate events. Jim Carrey stairs. Let me show you an example of how to edit Jim Carrey. Now, is this the whole scene? No. Cool. Where is the scene? I'm looking for the scene where Jim Carrey walks down the stairs. Will we even be able to find that? I'm kind of surprised I'm not immediately finding it. No, this is him just talking. Maybe you know what I'm talking about. Maybe it's in this trailer. Come on, tell me it is. Oh.
Oh, I am your beloved Count Olaf.
They're not going to show it, are they? God damn it. Basically, there's a scene in the series of unfortunate events where Jim Carrey gives a speech walking down the stairs. This is so annoying that they don't...
Hello.
I found the cropped version of it. This looks terrible.
I am your beloved Count
240p. My God.
And welcome.
So this is how you edit Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey, they barely cut away from him. From the top of my memory, they barely cut away from him, and they let him do what he wants to do.
To my loverly home. May you find solace within the womb-like warmth of its...
I understand that we can barely see it. I know.
Downy gloom.
And it's out of
Or
sync.
as the Greeks in the ancient times would say, Orphanus and Clibo. Something, something, something. Music builds to a crescendo. Ending on the right foot and strike a posse.
That is how you edit Jim Carrey. You allow, and then it continues.
Not exactly what I was going for, but...
You have to allow him to play through the whole scene and keep on him as much as possible while making sure you maintain audience interest. And you maintain audience interest by switching the camera view, because people's attention spans are short, which is why, for example, PewDiePie's videos, I don't know if he still does it, but in a lot of his older videos, he would have a cut or a zoom or anything like that every 5 seconds. That was his goal throughout the entirety of the video, because that's how you maintain interest. That's how you keep people's eyes on you. That's also why, well, not only for scene composition, but that's one of the reasons why you'll see a hand cam tracking someone rather than just a still shot, because the movement of the camera makes you focus on where that person's moving, which keeps you in the scene, whereas a steady shot on a tripod is a lot more boring to look at. But in the new Sonic movie, man, it was so like, they would cut away from him whenever you could tell that, you know, you had to, you know, sometimes when you zoom in on someone's face, you need to hold it for like a second, and then it's funny, and then it's not funny. And then it becomes funny again, and they never allowed it to get funny again with him in that movie. It was so frustrating. Let's continue.
Through staging. Here's an example I cribbed from David Bordwell. Things popping up into frame are funny.
Slow ahead. I can go slow ahead. Come on down and chum some of this shit.
And it's not just things entering frame. Consider the opposite.
I said tell Miss Laura goodbye.
Bye, Miss Laura.
You can get...
Dude, I hate going to the cinema. I saw Django Unchained in the cinema 3 times. I hate the cinema. I haven't been to the cinema in like 4 years now. I hate it. Let me see, where was it? You can Google search it. The words came out of Jim's mouth on live news television. I believe they came out his mouth. I don't believe he believes it. There's no taking that back since they save all their live shows to the net. No, I believe he said it. I'm not saying I don't believe that Jim Carrey said it. I'm meaning that I don't believe that he believes he's retired. I think he wants to retire but won't be able to. I'm telling you, 5 years he'll be in a movie. Guaranteed.
From a zoom.
Bet.
You want to pop the trunk and roll the windows down, please?
You can get a laugh from a crane up.
I'm so sorry. I'm going home, Rita. I know, Shirley, I know.
No, seriously, I'm going home. Can you help me out?
Oh.
You can get a laugh from a pan.
Oh my God, I can't remember what her name is. She is one of the funniest women on the planet. She was incredible in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Oh, I was so sad when she left.
As Martin Scorsese put it, cinema is a matter of what's in the frame and what's not in the frame. So think about the frame. And this isn't just a matter of smart or stupid comedy. Really, if it works, it works.
Oh my God, I remember this scene.
So with that, here are 8 things Edgar Wright does with picture and sound that I...
How do we have movies by Edgar Wright? How do we have the Monty Python movies? How do we have the Jackie Chan movies and the Eddie Murphy movies for all these directors to study, and then we get Sandra Bullock, Channing Tatum movies, man. I will say, if you've not seen the movie Bullet Train yet, it is a return to form for comedy in certain ways. I can't recommend it enough. It is, in my opinion, it's a perfect movie.
I want to see other comedy filmmakers try out. Number 1, things entering the frame in funny ways.
It's listening.
It's for Scott.
The geographical location shouldn't factor in the application of the law. No thanks.
Number 2, people leaving the frame in funny ways.
Time! You don't know how to switch off.
Yeah, if you didn't see anything suspicious, then who did?
Dude, I love shots specifically like this, right? Reason being, my brain also goes to the place where I'm going, but they're still right beside them. But I do this in real life with my lady because I love it. I'll be standing in the door frame and I'll say something and then I'll walk down, like I'll get out of the door frame, you know, just like, you know? Like, I love it. It's so much fun, man. And the stuff like this.
And who did?
It's brilliant. Dude, I just realized he starts laughing. Look, watch his face. It kind of, a little bit, it went up a little bit. Inglourious Basterds may have been wildly unfaithful to actual history, but goddamn if it wasn't funny. I've never seen Inglourious Basterds. I've never seen it. It's been on my list to watch for years. The best part of that Monty Python scene was that the other guard was too lazy to even do anything after his partner just got killed. Yeah.
There.
Or did he just hate him? Who knows?
Back again.
They still out there. Yeah.
Number 4, matching scene transitions.
Yeah, I remember this one.
Wallace, how do you do that? Wallace!
Number 5, the perfectly timed sound effect.
That time you dumped Kim.
Okay, me and Kim are all good now, all right?
Do feel free to spool through.
Number 6, action synchronized to the music.
Man. I will say this scene here is one of the only scenes that Edgar Wright has done that I didn't enjoy. This scene for me went from believable to unbelievable, and that's why I didn't like it. I feel like this scene like betrayed the laws of the universe, and that, you know, it left the realm of this world of attacking a zombie to like a funny fictional one, and this was one of the few scenes he's made. But the consequences at the end are real, so...
Beer pubs. Shall we?
Number 7, super dramatic lighting.
Bill Nye is one of my favorite actors. I love this guy. 10 out of 10 comedy actor. I don't know why he's not in everything.
Cues.
Gotta be a man.
I don't know what it is about that girl.
Scott, I forbid you from hitting on Ramona, even if you haven't had a real girlfriend in over a year.
Hey.
And number 8,
I've taken a shortcut before.
and you know what? Let's throw in number 9.
Let him have it.
What was this from? Oh, this is from Spaced. I've never seen Spaced.
So if you're a filmmaker, work on this. The frame is a playground, so play. And the next time you go to a theater and you pay $15 to see a comedy, don't be satisfied with shit that is less inventive than Vine.
And he said, that's strange because...
I used to love those videos. That was a great video, man. That was by Every Frame a Painting, Edgar Wright, How to Do Visual Comedy. Go give it a like, go give it a watch through, give him watch time. 10 out of 10, man. I like the comedy in The Big Short. I've never seen have I seen The Big Short? The Big Short might have been, no, I don't think I have seen it. Shit less inventive than Vine. Damn, that's actually accurate. True. Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff that comes out these days that just, I mean, let me have a look. Best comedy movies 2022. I just want to see what's on the list here and what of these I've seen. Bullet Train 100% is a 10 out. Go away. Is a 10 out of 10 movie that released last year. Did I see any of these other ones? I mean, most of them are so uninteresting. I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once. I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was a little bit too silly for me. I don't mind a silly movie, but it was like silly. And I couldn't really, I don't know. I feel like Bullet Train and Everything Everywhere All at Once are movies that you have to know what kind of movie they are before you go into them. I knew what kind of movie Bullet Train was. I didn't know what kind of movie Everything Everywhere All at Once was. I enjoyed Bullet Train. I didn't enjoy Everything Everywhere All at Once. Have I seen any of these other ones? Amsterdam White Noise, The Menu, Shotgun Wedding. I mean, I straight up refuse to watch this. I got this movie for my lady. I mean, what did this get on Rotten Tomatoes? Because it looks like a 2 out of 52%, 45%. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I don't like the look of it at all. What else? I mean, this kind of says it all that I watched 2. I've not seen The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. That's on my watch list. So is Glass Onion. The Man from Toronto. Now, I'm seeing Kevin Hart and I'm going, But I'm also seeing What's-His-Face, who I love, and can't remember his name right now. Woody Harrelson, who takes some garbage roles for an actor that's so goddamn good. He has been in some terrible stuff and some amazing stuff. I saw The Lost City. The best part of The Lost City for sure was Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt was in this movie and he was 10 out of 10 in it. Spoiler alert, he's not in the movie for long, and it's a shame because he's the best part of it. And he's in and out so quick, and yeah, the whole movie should have been about him. I did see Day Shift. This was one of the most mediocre movies I've ever seen. I mean, it's got 57% and 76% from the audience, but no, this movie was so mediocre. You could tell that the movie was by a director that specialized in stunts, and all the stunts were way over the top. The comedy was mediocre, and everything. It was just a stuntman's movie, and it was not enjoyable. I don't think I've seen any of these other movies. Violent Night I plan to watch. The Adam Project was barely a comedy. Was that 2022? I must have watched that at the beginning of the year. I remember that barely being a comedy movie. It was not memorable. There's so many of these movies that are just churned out to make money and for no other reason because they're garbage. If you know any good comedy movies that came out in 2022, feel free to recommend them because I'd like to find something good. But yeah, Edgar Wright, How to Do Visual Comedy. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a like. And stay super. I'm gonna head out and get my day started. May have a good evening, Blue and chat. I'll send you a link for that superhero game. I know you'll enjoy later in Discord. Thank you very much, Breathless. I'll catch you later. Have a great rest of your day, dude. What time is it? Oh my god, time is flying today. You know what they say, time flies when you're having fun. I do have another video here. Wait a second. I have the wrong link here. I have another video kind of on, yeah, it's by Nerdwriter 1 as well. Kind of on the same thing, but this is Scott Pilgrim, Make Your Transitions Count, and it's by Nerdwriter 1, and I really want to watch that. And then, before we go, we're going to watch this Supreme Court case video, because I'm very interested to find out how the internet's going to be destroyed in a brand new way, which is all very exciting. Comedy movie, the US government. I mean, when has the US government not been a comedy movie? The Suicide Squad was pretty fun. Oh yeah, I saw that. That was good. Yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that. My lady fell asleep in the last half an hour, but it wasn't really because the movie was bad. It was kind of because it was really long and she was tired. But I liked it. Yeah, that was a good movie. If not a little bit long. There were some scenes that could definitely have been shorter. But overall, yeah, I'd give that like a solid 8 out of 10. I'm not really looking forward to James Gunn taking over the DC universe. This is a different topic. This is a different topic altogether. I'm not looking forward to James Gunn taking over the DC universe. Reason being that we already have Marvel. And Suicide Squad was Marvel. It's a DC property, but it played like a Marvel movie. Say what you want about the dude that made the Batman movies. Snyder. Oh, no, that wasn't. Was that Snyder? That wasn't Snyder. The dude that made the Superman movie and the Batman v Superman. Snyder. Say what you will about him, at least the movies were different. Like, I have Marvel fatigue right now. The last Marvel thing I watched I watched Endgame and Infinity War. I watched WandaVision, and I hated the first half of it. I hated it. I thought it was some of the worst TV I've ever seen in my life. The second half of the season was mediocre. The first half was terrible. I watched... What else? What was the other thing? I watched Loki. And that was good. The most I could say about it is it was good. I didn't watch She-Hulk. I did watch The Arrow, or whatever it was, Hawkeye, whatever it was called. I thought that was watchable. I hated the first couple episodes. I enjoyed the other ones, but I would have given that like a 2. I would have given that like a, I don't know, like a 6 out of 10. And then I've not really seen anything since that. I've not seen Groot. I've not seen No Way Home yet. I tried to watch through all the Spider-Man movies before watching No Way Home. I watched Spider-Man 1 and 2, the original ones. And thank you for Lurking Pursue. I watched the original ones, the first 2, and then I was just tired. I have not watched, that was like 6 months ago. I didn't watch She-Hulk, didn't watch Groot, or The Guardians Christmas. I've not seen Ant-Man, or No Way Home, or what was that new one? The Doctor Who and the Multiverse of Madness. I've not seen that. I think the reason, half the reason is that I'm tired of it all. It's all the same thing again and again and again. Like again and again and again. It's the exact, all the solo movies are the same. All the shows are the same. And the end of the Loki show. One thing, I was really disappointed that they set up the bad guy for all of Marvel going forward for probably the next 10 years, or one of the bad guys. They set him up in a TV show. Like, they set him up in Loki, and I didn't fully understand what was going on with that guy. Like, I remember basically the storyline for the bad guy in Loki at the end was setting up the next 10 years of Marvel was, I'm so smart that I'm the most dangerous person in all the timelines, because if there's a good me, there's a bad me, which means if I'm the one that stops the good me and the bad me, if I stop stopping me, then the worst me, who's the smartest person in all the universes, is going to try and take over all the universes. I mean, I understand the concept, but 1, to set it up in a TV show, 2, to explain it like that, I was just sitting there going, I mean, that's kind of cool, but I don't know, man. There's something about that just really irked me. I can't put my finger on it. I think it was just the explanation, because on the surface it seems kind of cool. Like, oh, if this guy's the smartest guy that has ever lived, then that means that, yeah, there's a universe where he's the ultimate good and a universe where he's the ultimate evil. But then my brain just goes, well, surely the ultimate good and the ultimate evil will meet at some point, fight each other, and there's no need for any other Marvel hero. Right? You see what I'm saying? That makes sense. If the ultimate evil is going to take over everything, surely there's an ultimate good version of him that protects everything. They cancel each other out, and as such, nothing that this guy does matters, because good him is going to come along at some point. Unless you're telling me that in all the multiverse, you see how stupid this is? In all the multiverses, there's a really bad version of him, but there's never a good version. Well, that doesn't track for multiverse theory. And this is why I'm tired of Marvel right now. Because when they do introduce something that's even vaguely interesting, my brain gets stuck on all the ways that doesn't make sense. Whereas when I used to watch Spider-Man, it was a Spider-Man, man! Every Frame's a Painting, Satoshi. Editing Space and Time has an Edgar Wright film in it for a split second, if that'll get you to watch it. I'm not going to watch it today. I will watch that on Tuesday. I'll get that up and saved. Every Frame Painting, Satoshi. Cool. I'm going to get that up and watch that at some point. Probably on Tuesday. If you remind me then, I will add that to my list and give it a watch. Where was I? But you see what I'm saying with to get back on track with Marvel and how it's just so exhausting. Maybe something's happened in the movies and shows since the end of Loki that I've missed, but I don't know. I watched Falcon Winter Soldier and that was crap as well. I did not enjoy that show. I didn't enjoy it. 1 to 2, I did not. I do not find the guy that plays Falcon appealing. I don't know what it is about him that I don't really find appealing. He was really good in that show, but there's something about him, like I want to see him in heavy dramas, not in an action movie. But then I really didn't like him in Altered Carbon, so maybe my bias is shining through there. But he is a good actor. I can't remember what it was I saw him in. There was something that I saw him in. Oh, what was it? He was absolutely phenomenal in it. I think it was a show where, if I remember right, there's 2 guys, and in the show they both get. This is really explicit, so I'm just gonna like a little bit of a warning right now. There's 2 guys, and they're friends, and they both get a VR headset, and at one point, when they're together in this VR world, one of them is a woman, and then they virtually get together, even though they're 2 guys, in the VR headset, one of them turns into a woman and one of them remains a guy, and then they try and get together in real life in the show. And it was such a touching and moving and phenomenal scene that did a fantastic job of breaking down sexuality and gender and feelings and love and the boundaries that we set ourselves with seeing each other as a physical being and then seeing each other as just a mind that can love. It was Black Mirror. Thank you, Fufu. He was just absolutely incredible, 10 out of 10 in that, and I've not seen him have such a great performance since that, but that's the kind of stuff that he should be in, because his ability to act in drama and to slow act is his forte for sure, and he keeps taking high intensity roles, and I don't understand why, because that's not where he shines through. You have to recognize what you can and can't do, or what you can do well and what you can do. You know? I can make desserts in the kitchen well. I can cook steak okay. I stick to the desserts, you know? He fired Henry Cavill, and that's already sort of a bad sign. I agree. Although, I agree it was a bad move to fire Henry Cavill because people love Henry Cavill. I do think that Henry Cavill's iteration of Superman, while no fault of him, because he is he's a phenomenal actor, I do think the version of Superman that he played and that was written for him was one of the most boring characters to ever be on TV, ever be in the cinema, ever be on movie. It was, despite what he tried to do to convey the emotions of Superman, I just felt he was so goddamn boring. On every single level, I was bored out of my mind with the character. I couldn't relate to him. I couldn't understand. I understood what he was doing and why he was doing it, but I feel like I never truly got to understand why he didn't do things, which I think is more important when you're learning about a character. Like, I don't want to know why. Here's an example. I don't want to know why Daenerys is burning down King's Landing. I want to know why she never did it up to that point, you know? And I feel like that was never conveyed. So when that switch was made and she went, I'm just gonna do it, I didn't understand it, because the reason that she didn't do it before I never clearly saw that disappear and break. An example of that would be, I'll never kill a bad, like, let's say I'm the Punisher. I don't kill bad guys, and the bad guy kills my wife. I'm gonna kill every single bad guy so no other guy has to go through what I've been through, because that guy was in jail because of me rather than being dead. That is a good example of how you explain to an audience of why that character didn't do something. You see the reason he didn't do something break. That changes, now he's doing that thing. I still don't know why Superman doesn't erase the planet. I don't know what, and if you tell me the reason is because his mum and his dad taught him better, yeah, sure, there are loads of serial killers on the planet whose mum and dad tried to teach them better, and they still became serial killers. Or loads of parents that tried to teach their kid to be compassionate and they became a soulless CEO billionaire. Or loads of parents that tried to teach their kids right from wrong and their child became a mechanic and rips off women because women are more susceptible to being ripped off in garages by being told that something's wrong when it isn't. So that's an example of why I don't understand why Superman doesn't go around and erase the whole planet, because it's not a reason enough for me that I was taught better, because loads of people don't learn from what they were taught when they're kids. And I found Superman to be the most boring person on the planet. So in that way, I am glad that James Gunn is resetting the universe. But I just don't want more Marvel movies. I want dark, gritty murder DC movies. I want dark Batman. I want him out there shooting people in the face. Like what was it? Was it Justice League? The dude's out there in the dark versus, Dude, one of the best scenes I've ever seen in a superhero movie. It wasn't even a superhero, because there's nothing super about Batman. He's just a man. And that's dark superhero movies are the best movies. And let's not count Black Adam, because Black Adam was that was not a dark superhero movie. That was a superhero movie that had some dark things in it, and it's not the same. No Way Home is really a movie for basically people who were growing up during the Sam Raimi Spider-Man era. Yeah, I mean, I did grow up during that time. I want to watch through all the movies first. Having all the Spider-Man. Wait, having all the Spider-Mans and villains together is really the whole movie. That's what I guess. Hey, Whirly Derby, how's it going, dude? What's the crack? We're talking about DC Universe and Marvel Universe again. I know. The whole ending of Loki is that the good, smart guy already fought his other versions and made sure they don't pop up anymore. That all ends when he dies, and now the multiverse becomes a thing again, hence all the good and bad versions come back. Right, Exo. Right, we're gonna go back to this because this is important to me, and then I'll catch up with everything else, right? So you're saying that the good smart guy already beat the bad versions of himself, right? Okay, let's catch everyone up for anyone that let's catch up real quick. I said that the ending of the Loki TV show annoyed me because the reason that the worst version of him is going to come and destroy the multiverse is because the good version of him, surely the good version is going to come along and stop the bad version, so they cancel each other out. So no need for the Marvel Universe to intervene. They'll cancel each other out. But EXO is saying, I think I said that right. EXO is saying the whole ending of Loki is that the good smart guy already fought his other versions and made sure they don't pop up anymore. That all ends when he dies. Now the multiverse becomes a thing again, hence all the good and bad versions come back. But what I would say to that is, if there's a good version of him that's beat the bad guy and gives up at some point and lets the bad guys come back, surely there's a good version of him that beats the bad guy and doesn't let the bad guy ever come back. There's a version of him that's good and doesn't get exhausted. Because the idea of a multiverse is that if something can happen, like if there's one, there's the other, to the nth degree and to as close as possible. What do I mean? I mean, how do I explain it? If there's a good me, there's a bad me. If there's a good me and a bad me, there's also a neutral me, but there's a neutral me slightly to the right and slightly to the left. Then there's an evil version of me and a good version of me. And it goes on and on and on. And the middle is no middle. There's no zero, there's one and negative one. But there's never a middle, because that would cancel out the entirety of a multiverse, right? Because if you can have a true middle, then a multiverse, in my understanding, can't exist. Because a true neutral means that there's a middle ground, and there shouldn't be a middle ground in a multiverse. There should be a 1 and a -1, and then you've got it going infinitely that way and infinitely that way. So if at the end of Loki, the good guy is the good guy that beat the bad guy but gives up at some point, that means there should be an even gooder version of him that beats the bad guy and never gives up, stopping the multiverse from coming back. Which again cancels out the ending of Loki and the bad guy that exists now. It doesn't make going off a multiverse theory that there's a really good and a really bad version. It doesn't make sense to me, because a multiverse implies that if anything, then anything. As far as I understand it. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, by the way, yeah, the second season of Altered Carbon was terrible. It was. I watched half of it and hated it and never went back. I couldn't stand it. It was so bad compared to the first season. No wonder there wasn't a third. There wasn't a third, right? I don't think there was. What happened to all the viewbots? What do you mean all the viewbots? Dark superhero movies are great. I hate all the happy colors and canny sweet stuff. What, in Marvel movies? Yeah, Batman's just a rich guy with karate training. True. The Dark Knight trilogy, loved them. They were great movies. Don't get me wrong, I also love like Batman and Robin. I also love the Tim Burton Batman movies, but I would rather see more movies like the Dark Knight trilogy than see more Marvel movies. I will, however, say that I despised the Batman, despised it, hated it from beginning to end. Everything about it. There wasn't a saving grace of a millisecond in that movie that I liked. Hated I thought the Riddler it was really weird that they made the Riddler a, what's the word? I can't remember what the word is. An incel. They made the Riddler an incel, which was really, really weird. I thought the logic of the people joining the bad guy was really weird. I thought the Batman character was played really poorly. I couldn't understand most of his decision making, and all in all, he seemed like a moody teenager that just wanted to die, and I hated him. I hated everything about it. Could not relate on any level, which is where that movie failed for me. Although loads of people liked it, so, and I'm glad they liked it, and I'm glad they enjoyed it, and I hope there's another Batman movie for them. I won't be watching it, but I hope they love it. I don't know Media Burn, but I would ask that you don't talk about numbers because it can mess up flow. But I've got no idea. I like the exploration of fascism and elitism explored in some of these characters. Same, I enjoy that too. The thing is, there's only one Kang, the smart guy, alive, and there's only one timeline with no other alternative. Hold on. The thing is, there's only one Kang, the smart guy, alive, and there's only one timeline with no other alternate ones, right? Until the end of Loki, where he's no longer alive to guard it, so the timeline starts branching out again, and the multiverse becomes a thing. Prior to that, there's no other good or bad versions because they're all dead or cease to exist because of TVA and pruning timelines and stuff. But then, my question for that would be, if there's no other timelines and then the timelines start up again, do the previous timelines come back or do they start again from there? Shouldn't there be like a 50-year, 100-year gap? Does the bad him that used to exist still exist if the timelines have been wiped out? This is why I don't like multiverse being introduced into shows and movies, because it leaves too much to the imagination or too much reading that you need to do to kind of understand what version of a multiverse they're using and how it works. It's very frustrating. It's really frustrating. It makes it difficult to immerse yourself in a universe that has rules that change on a whim. You know, if there was no multiverses now, but now there are. Well, hold on. If there's no multiverses, but the Avengers were able to go back in time and change universes, then what happened? Wait, was Loki before the Avengers went back, and that's how the timelines were opened for them to be able to go back in time and fix Thanos, and for Thanos to come through to a different time? Like, it gets so confusing and so frustrating to even think about that I'm done. What, you've got 12.8 thousand channel points. What can I do with them? Right now, nothing. I might introduce something for them in the future. I don't know when. I would guess a year from now. I've got no plans for them. I just turned them back on because I know people liked them a while back. Maybe the Kang that remained in Loki was really the best, goodest version that could possibly exist. And even that version of Kang just gives up in the end after an eternity of boredom. But isn't the point of a multiverse that anything can happen? And if a multiverse has limits to how good or bad something can be, can a multiverse have a... and thank you very much, Byrne. Can a multiverse have limits to how good or bad a person could be? Surely there are not limits to that. There shouldn't be. Because you have to imagine that other timelines also have different versions of physics and gravity, different elements on Earth, different points of you know, the dinosaurs never existed, but monkeys turned into humans way sooner, so they're thousands of years further ahead. They're on Kang is born on another planet surrounding a sun that gives them superpowers, and then you've got multiple timelines that, you see, this is the thing. You'd have to ask the Marvel writers that I guess. They don't know for sure because no one fully understands how multiverses work because they're theoretical in entirety, which is that's why I don't like multiverses as well, because if there's no real answer to it, then what you can do is you can write into a black hole and you can go, well, it's multiverses, and you go, wait, what about this, and this? You go, it's multiverses. It's a lazy way of writing, in my opinion, and it's a storyline that they should have stayed away from. I think it would have been so much more interesting if they'd went any other way with it. Me personally, if I was writing the future of Marvel, what would I have done to make the next big bad guy? I would have probably just went with Galactus. Galactus is a phenomenal bad guy, and he's the one that they should have focused on, brought the Fantastic Four into the universe, made Galactus a massive enemy in the same way that Thanos was a massive enemy. They could have brought in the Titans from, what was that movie that came out, The Eternals? They could have brought the Titans more into the main storyline, while also involving Galactus. They could have went Planet Hulk with it along the way. They could have brought the Silver Surfer in. That would have helped expand current Marvel superheroes out into the universe so we could see more worlds like we see in Guardians of the Galaxy movies. You know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see Spider-Man web swinging on a planet that has a different level of gravity that's lighter, so he's able to do more, you know? There's so many things that you could do. Now, I'm not a comic book geek. Like, I don't know many other storylines. I've seen like pretty much every Marvel movie up until the last couple years. So I have a basic understanding. You could have also made Doctor Doom the ultimate bad guy, manipulating things along the way. While not, Doctor Doom can be interesting and not be interesting. Having a human be the bad guy is always iffy because it's really just giving them powers or not giving them powers. What I would have probably done, actually, you know what I would have done? What was the bad guy that Mads Mikkelsen played in Doctor Strange, the first one? I would have had Mads Mikkelsen be the ultimate bad guy, and that he found a way to defeat that guy that Doctor Strange fought in the first movie, the big demon thing. Or Mads Mikkelsen and that thing combined somehow and for some reason, because Mads Mikkelsen promised to get it into the human realm, and so they combined power and he comes back as the ultimate bad guy, and that's where you can start your multiverse fights, because you're fighting between dimensions, and then at the end of a 10-year period, Mads Mikkelsen's finally defeated, and that's what tears open multiple timeline type of deal. I would have went something along those lines. Anything other than Kang, who has just brings in the multiverse, I personally think too quickly. And it's not that interesting. I really don't think it is. Because when anything is possible, nothing is interesting. Know what I mean? If you can do anything, like, how do I put it? You know how when you've played Grand Theft Auto and you've got unlimited money and the game becomes boring as shit? That's what the multiverse is like to me. If you can go anywhere and do anything whenever you want, and any good guy and any bad guy can come to help at any time, then nothing really matters. None of it. Let me make a point, a really good point. Doesn't matter that Gamora died, because Gamora's back because of the multiverse. You see what I'm saying? Nothing matters. Hulk dies, who cares? Another Hulk. Doctor Strange, Wolverine, Fantastic Four, doesn't matter who dies, just get another version of them. There's multiverses, come back. There's nothing interesting there. There's no risk when you can just replace them. And if you don't at least build enough time to really like that character, then I don't know, like, I don't care that Gamora died because she's back in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. But it's just a version of her that's kind of mean. So, it's, you know? And then what did I really know about that character before she was killed anyway? It's just not, how can I care about anything when anyone is replaceable, you know? It's difficult to really care, especially when you don't really know them, you know? Way I see it, there used to be a multiverse, all the Kangs fought, only one survived and made it so there's only one universe. But if he's the only one that survived, why does there only have to be one universe going forward? Then he got offed, and the universe resets itself into always being a multiverse. So doesn't that sound, it's complicated for sure, but doesn't that sound stupid that because he dies, the universe resets and now all of hims are back? Doesn't that sound dumb? Because now we're in the universe where he survived but didn't make it for eternity, so now everything resets itself, so he never beat himself, even though he did. I don't know, it's so confusing and complicated. Basically, Kang the Good One dying literally retcons the whole MC universe, so it's the MCM, Marvel Cinematic Multiverse. They already had made how many Fantastic Fours? I don't think they ever got Doom or even Galactus right. I agree, but those were Sony movies, weren't they? And Sony is just not great at making movies surrounding superheroes. There's no consistency. The multiverse is probably not the best choice for the MCU, but No Way Home made a lot of money, so here we are in the multiverse. I don't know, man. I would love to see them change it up in some way. Me personally, all I want is Marvel Zombies. If you've never read the first few Marvel Zombie comics, they're 10 out of 10. It gets way worse as the series goes on. I mean, all the way to, I can't remember what the duck is called. I don't know if it's called Donald Duck or whatever, but they bring the duck into it at some point and it just sucks. But the first like 20 comics or 10 comics that you can find on Marvel Zombies, 10 out of 10. If you've seen the animated ones, I can't remember what that was called. The What If series. If you've seen the What If series, that's a solid, show with a cool ending, but the zombie episode was terrible, for sure. I'm tempted to post everything I just said onto YouTube just to see how much hate I get for everything I've said. I wasn't meaning to be controversial, I was just giving my opinion on things, but you know how that goes. Anywho, yeah, should we watch a video? I do have one more video that I want to watch. Oh, I had two. Maybe just watched one? I'm not sure. Let's see here. Okie dokie. Right. Shall we watch the Scott Pilgrim video? I think we should. I think I'm gonna watch this and then we'll save the Supreme Court video for Tuesday, I think. Yeah, seems like a good idea to me. Right. Scott Pilgrim, make your transitions count. Another video by Nerdwriter1, one of my favorite YouTubers. We just watched a video on Edgar Wright, who was the director of this, among many other movies. Scott Pilgrim is one of them. Hot Fuzz. I always forget the other one. Shaun of the Dead, Baby Driver, etc. But one of the things that is amazing about this movie are the transitions. And I wanted to watch a video kind of explaining why they're so amazing, because I know they are, but I don't fully understand why. So let's give this a watch. And see if we have a better understanding at the end. Okay, remember? Go subscribe, give the video a like. Let's give it a watch.
Off with Anna Kendrick looking to camera right, which is...
ahead.
You know, of all the established directors working today, I think the one that would feel most at home in my world, the world of the video essay, is Edgar Wright. See, basically what I do here every week, like any essayist, is make an argument. The difference between me and, say, New York Times columnist Paul Krugman, besides a PhD in economics and, like, accolades, is that I use video to make my arguments where he has only language. But even so, our goals are the same, to make a persuasive and engaging argument. And just like writers pay close attention to the flow of their words, carefully crafting the transitions from one idea to the next, I see the rhythm and momentum of my videos as crucial to their effectiveness.
Okay.
And here's where I can learn a lot from Edgar Wright.
Can I get back to you on that?
Edgar Wright is a master of rhythm. What
How
you just
did
saw
he
is
even do that, man? That was amazing. He uses the... Can I slow down the speed of this to 0.25? I think he uses the letter. That's so crazy of a transition. That's absolutely incredible. Like, to even think of doing that is amazing.
Edgar Wright is a master of rhythm. What you just saw is one of many extraordinary scene transitions from Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It lasts about 4.5 seconds.
Oh my God, he
it's
slows
worth
it down
taking
for
a
us.
second slower look. This transition is all about movement to the right. It kicks off with Anna Kendrick looking to camera right, which is the direction of the movement, but she's also looking at her brother through the split screen. Her split screen is keyframed off to the left, and so is Scott Pilgrim's. But Wright has cleverly positioned him left in the frame, so he can bring in the unseen right-hand part of the shot to extend the dolly wipe. And the right of that frame is the armchair, which wipes across to reveal the next outdoor setting. And the onomatopoeia letters of the school bell aid this transition into a shot that continues the motion by actually dollying.
See, when you're looking at a transition like this, it shouldn't look even half as good as it does in slow motion. The fact that this looks good in slow motion is absolutely incredible. The difficulty in making something like that look good slow is crazy.
Continues the motion by actually dollying to the right. If you were to diagram out this transition, it would look a little like this, and it gives you a better sense of just how much care is put into a handful of frames. The transitions are a site of opportunity for Edgar Wright. They're not only an opportunity for visual jokes, as my friend Tony explored briefly in another video, which I'll link to right here. They're a chance to build important connective tissue that brings the viewer through the story. In fact, I think a story is a lot like an argument. It has to be persuasive to work.
Scott, what?
True. I'm constantly saying that you have to obey the laws you set out for yourself in a movie, and a lot of movies break that. And yeah, in what he just said, I want to say that again.
Has to be persuasive to work.
Yeah.
Scott, what?
It has to be persuasive.
You only played one note for that entire song.
In the beginning of this movie, Scott Pilgrim is adrift. The breakup
I feel like my brain just broke and I basically just said nothing, but I'm just gonna keep on going.
That defined his life for the past year is no longer an excuse for his sour attitude.
Brie Larson's best role in a movie ever. I loved her in this.
He begins a relationship with a 17-year-old that's clearly not serious to him, and he's kind of just floating through life. It's a feeling that I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with. I know I am. When everything sort of melts together and you skip around in time from place to place. To communicate this feeling, Wright melts together the transitions between settings. He utilizes a few techniques to do this. On Scott's Date with Knives, for example, there are a series of frame wipes that use diegetic moving objects, usually people, that are so seamless they momentarily trick the brain into not registering the transition. What's more, these wipes are all accompanied by sound effects, which are also diegetic, whether it's a car, a skateboard, the rustling of clothes hangers, or the beep of a sliding door, all pulling you deeper into the world. You also have shots where the reverse shot is matched in framing, but in a totally different location. I mean, this is really cool because Wright is using the rules of cinema against you. You're not trained to think that a scene transition could come between a shot reverse shot. So you're already engaging with the next play.
This is so next level complicated that I barely understand it. This is crazy.
Before you realize that you've left the last one. When you think back on this sequence, it's hard to remember all the locations as distinct, which is exactly what Scott is feeling.
I told you like 50 times.
We're going to...
That's incredible. I didn't even realize that he's using these transitions and trying to get them to, like he just said, trying to blend them together smoother in order to help you feel how the character feels. I never even thought about that.
When you think back on this sequence, it's hard to remember all the locations as distinct, which is exactly what Scott is feeling.
I told you like 50 times.
We're going to this party, retard.
All throughout Scott Pilgrim, Wright never misses a chance to use a creative transition, whether it's from scene to scene.
Oh, hey, it's tonight at the...
Or within scenes, from shot to shot.
Wallace!
I think the overall effect of this is twofold. Not only do the wipes and whip pans and match cuts draw you along the story as it unfolds, but they also make you into a more observant viewer. They're transitions that disappear the first time you watch and stand out the second time, or vice versa. I mean, where exactly is the scene transition here? It's happening completely off screen, or rather behind the screen. My guess is either that the house set is on wheels or the bathroom itself is being spun around to face another backdrop. Whichever it is, the transition is disorienting in the best way. And because what's happening isn't possible, you're encouraged to sort of put the film together and interactivity that's appropriate in a movie about gaming. What's important is that the filmgoer is involved and engrossed at the same time. This delicate balance.
That's absolutely insane how he got the transition on the spin.
Engrossed at the same time.
It's so crazy how talented this guy is.
This delicate balance is achieved through transitions that are often lyrical, like a kind of visual poetry in the most unlikely place. It might be worth noting, too, that Scott Pilgrim is a story about a transitionary period in the hero's life, a period between knowing who you were and deciding who you're going to be. Life's transitions are harder to navigate than those in film or a video essay, but all of them have to be persuasive. And persuasion is about more than the words or the images or the ideas you use. It's also about how you connect them.
That was impressive, dude. I have to say, I really thought at the end of watching that video, I'd have a better understanding of how he does it, but really I've got a better understanding of why he uses certain transitions. And to be honest, I never understood before that the reason that he transitions, or the way he transitions in this movie, I never understood that the reason he was doing it was because that's the way the character feels. I never even thought about using transitions to convey how someone feels. I've only ever thought about transitions in terms of how do you use them to create comedy, and then what kind of zoom do you have to create that comedy, and then how do you position your actor, and how do you... I'm gonna have to watch this through again. a couple of times to fully understand, because even though Nerdwriter 1 does a phenomenal job of breaking things down, my brain is still a little bit frazzled for sure after watching that. That was Scott Pilgrim, Make Your Transitions Count by Nerdwriter 1. Be sure to go give the video a like. Man, how some people explain movies and cinematography makes me feel dumb. Dude, you and me both, because I just see a movie and I can never exactly say why I think a movie is good or sucks. I'm kind of the same. Like, the way that I will tell you that something sucks or something is good is by saying, I wish they did this. If I didn't like something, I'll go, I wish they did that instead, rather than saying, oh, like, I didn't like this and I didn't like this. I'd rather talk about what I wish they did instead. It's a better, I personally think it's a better way of wording yourself. Maybe I'm wrong, I'm not sure. And if I like something, I'll just say, dude, it was so good, you gotta see it. And that's pretty much the extent of how I explain if I like something. Sometimes I'll try and go deeper with it, but I often struggle to find the words or craft the sentences to better explain why it is that I like something. I'll just know that I really liked it. I think most of the time because the reason I liked it was the feeling it gave me at the end, like the feeling of satisfaction, the feeling of knowing that I'm glad that I spent those 2 hours like that, watching that movie or watching that show. It's the feeling of satisfaction and going on a journey and being happy at the end of that journey. In the same way that if you decided to go for a walk, you're gonna be way happier when you get back from that walk if it wasn't raining that day. You know, same in my head, same type of thing. But again, Nerdwriter 1, Scott Pilgrim, Make Your Transitions Count, give it a like. And if you're watching over on YouTube, be sure to like this video and remember to stay super. Okie dokie. So I guess for Tuesday, we're gonna watch the Supreme Court case could destroy the internet, really. There's no need to watch it anytime soon. Satoshi Kon, editing space and time. Now, I don't know who Satoshi Kon is. I'm going to have a look and see what this person has made, and I'm going to try and watch something by this person so that I understand what we're talking about when we watch this on Tuesday. I think that's everything. Yeah. But also it's about then the mood I'm in. Sometimes I just want to watch a brain dead movie and sometimes not. Same dude. Like, there are movies that I like. There's two kinds of movies I like. Three really. One is space horror movies. I love them because they're a brain dead horror feast that you can turn your brain off. It doesn't matter, like the rules that apply on Earth don't apply in space, you know? Like you don't have, there's no real, like, this is what happens in this universe. It's anything can happen because it's space and it's horror. What's that movie that I love so much? I can never remember the name of it ever. It drives me nuts. Event Horizon, dude. Event Horizon is one of my favorite, if not my favorite movie of all time. Sam Neill, Lawrence Fishburne, Jolie Richardson, my God. And Jason Isaacs. It's a 10 out of 10 movie in my opinion. I absolutely love it. Because there are no rules. There are no rules in space, dude. I also really enjoy bad movies. Like, what's his name? Scottish actor, not Russell Crowe, Gerald Butler. Gerald Butler has made, let's be honest and real. Honest and real. Gerald Butler makes mediocre one-note action movies. But I love mediocre one-note action movies. Those movies, the ones where he's like, has to protect the president, London's falling, America's falling, Washington's falling. Those movies, I love them so much. They're so good, and I love them. I love a bad movie. You know what I really enjoy? I love a movie that's got no ulterior motive. I don't want to watch a movie, personally, I don't want to watch a movie and an hour, half an hour in, they're going, the child slaves in so-and-so have to so-and-so to so-and-so. And I'm sitting there going, oh, I wanted to enjoy a movie and now I'm thinking about real stuff that makes me sad. And then an hour in, if only we could change this about the world and this about the world. And in between those half an hour segments, the whole thing is, we got a pew pew and a bang bang and a ha ha and the comedy. And then it just like has this, and then at the end there's this like, well, if we as a society can come together. And I'm standing there going, what do you mean? I just wanted to enjoy a brain dead movie, and that's what I like about Gerald Butler movies. The brain dead. It's and in the best way. I don't mean brain dead in a negative way. I mean brain dead positive. It's pure fun, pure action, no nonsense, no ulterior motive, no ulterior anything where they're trying to convince you to be this or convince you to be that. It's just a movie and it's great. Like I would say, like Everything Everywhere All at Once. Spoiler alert. Was a little bit about the mum not accepting her daughter's sexuality, and that brought in real world problems into an action fun movie. And how do I put it? It's important to have that in movies, to bring real world problems in, because how else are you going to get this to people that don't watch the news and don't read newspapers? But at the same time, I find it exhausting. I really do. It's exhausting having to hear about all the injustices of the world, dude, when all I'm wanting to do is enjoy something, But that's what's good about a Gerald Butler movie. Love Gerald Butler movies. I feel like I haven't seen one in ages. Law Abiding Citizen's fantastic. Is that a new one? Law Abiding Citizen. Why do I know that name? That's not a Mel Gibson one, is it? No. Law Abiding Citizen. I don't know if I've seen this. I'm keeping this up to watch this later, or this weekend, or at some point soon. I don't think I've seen that. To be honest, I don't want politics in movies. We have Twitter for that. Oh, Twitter's an absolute cesspool. Yeah, we do have Twitter for that, for sure. What a shame it is that we have Twitter. Yeah, I don't really want, like I said, I understand the necessity of having politics in movies. Because if we don't have it there are people that will never face it. But as someone who understands to a certain degree the politics of the world, the injustices of this group and that group and everyone, how we could make things better, the things that we don't see every day. As someone who keeps up on the news and spends time trying to educate myself as best as possible on all topics, it is exhausting when you see it in movies, because that's your one place for escape, It's frustrating, to say the least. Anywho, I'm going to boost off. I will be back on Tuesday at 2 p.m. UK time. Don't think I've got anything coming up over the next couple of weeks. So Tuesday and Friday next week, every week. Over on YouTube, I will be cutting up the last two streams and putting them on there in smaller segments. And I'll be starting that on Monday. And I'm going to try and get an upload every single day of the week going forward, but it'll always be a few days behind the stream. I'll also be posting the streams as their own thing on YouTube, so if you missed any stream and you want to catch up with it on a platform that's actually decent for rewatching VOD content, they'll be posted over on the YouTube as well. Appreciate you, and as always, stay super Blootropolis.